In St. Louis, the fire kindled in preseason is flickering. And after a loss to Atlanta last week, the Cardinals are winless and badly in need of inspiration. If inspiration means leadership, it may have surfaced in the person of strong safety Leonard Smith, whose post-game tirades may be one way to light a fire under the Cardinals and get Gene Stallings his first NFL win. The Buffalo Bills are also winless, but in no way are they in need of inspiration. It has arrived in the form of one James Edward Kelly, whose strong arm and leadership seems to be doled out in equal portions these days. The Bills may be 0-2, but they're walking tall with a new savior. It's a nice calm day here in Buffalo. Temperature is 60 degrees, very little wind. The Kickers will be happy about that. I'm Jack Buck, and it's a pleasure to be working with Joe Theismann. The good news is that somebody is going to win today. Joe, you and I met a sparkling new personality this week. He's something, isn't he?
He certainly is a personality. He eludes leadership. Just his presence alone here in Buffalo has made a tremendous difference and impact to the city. He has helped the offense. The problem has not been the offense for Buffalo. It's been their defense, which has given up 64 points in the first two ball games.
And if defense is the problem for Buffalo, we know what the problem is for St. Louis. They have only two wide receivers, Scott Holman and J.T. Smith. So what are they going to do about that?
I think they're going to play with Holman and Smith. They have to. They're the only two people they have. Stump Mitchell's going to start in the backfield. Otis Anderson will play a bit, but the problem has been everybody's been hurt. They can't make big plays. They're going to have to go out, use short passes and a running game today to keep the Bills' offense off the field if they want to get a victory.
We shall get an early look at Jim Kelly because Buffalo has won the toss, and they will be receiving, and Evan Arapastathis will be kicking it off. And I want to hear you pronounce that name before this day is over, Joe Theismann. Evan Arapastathis, nothing to it. Joe's all tangled up in his cord here. Now he has his headset on, and we're going to get an early look at Kelly.
I can't wait. We've read so much, heard so much about Jim Kelly. He's the kind of man, like I said before, he is the key and the catalyst to this football team.
The deep men are Walter Broughton, number 89, and Rob Riddick, number 40. Riddick is closest to us. Anyway, we go. We hope you enjoy our telecast from Rich Stadium. This crowd is really flying high. They gave Kelly a rousing ovation at the start of the day. Into the end zone, and Broughton says, "Here I come." 20-yard line. Well, heck, he could have downed it to save himself the trouble.
Save the wear and tear coming out. Kick returners never want to do that, though. They want to get their hands on the ball and get it going.
And Jim Kelly takes over the controls of the team, but we'll check the Cardinal defense for you. Cardinals use a three-man front. Stafford Mays, Mark Duda, and Gary Doolin. Good linebackers, Freddie Joe Nunn, E.J. Jr., Nico Noga, Charlie Baker. Cornerbacks are Lionel Washington, Wayne Smith, and Leonard Smith, and Lonnie Young are the safety men. It is Moore and Greg Bell in the backfield, and Bell is the tailback, number 28. Here he comes, and he is good for about 5 yards with a pretty good surge over the left side by the Bills, led by Jim Richer, their left guard, and Ken Jones. And with Mark Duda in on the tackle. Jim Kelly has Ricky Moore and Greg Bell in the backfield. Andre Reed, Jerry Butler, the wide receivers. Up front, Ken Jones, Jim Richer, Kent Hull, Will Wolford, the veteran Joe Devlin, and Pete Metzelaars is the tight end. It's 2nd and 6. Butler and Reed are the wide receivers. To the air. Who wants it? And it is incomplete. Batted up in the air by Lonnie Young, number 43. And a third down coming up. E.J. Jr. darn near picked it off.
Lonnie Young wishes he had that one back. Him went right through his hands, hit him right in the nose, bounced up in the air, and wound up on the ground, which has really been the problem for the Cardinals. They just can't get an interception.
Chris Burkett comes in as an extra wide receiver, number 85 on 3rd and 6. Now Butler goes out, so 2 wide receivers. Big third down play here early going, and a draw play. Very good strong run. And very close to a first down by Greg Bell. This fellow's built like a linebacker. He's 5'10", and he weighs 210. Nico Noga ran him out of bounds. And it's going to be short of a first down.
There's the in blocking. The line's doing a fine job. There goes Bell. He does a great job of straight arm. He gets out of bounds short of the first down. Carries that ball out there like a loaf of bread, though. He's got to be careful.
And John Kidd is the punter. Vic Sikahema, Bai Sikahema, is back waiting for this good kick, a boomer. And Sikahema avoids one tackler. He's back to the 20. He's had some good returns, and he is down around the 25-yard line. A 54-yard punt, an 8-yard return, and Mark Kelso made the Buffalo tackle. So Neil Lomax goes to work. Here's the defense that he will be facing. Likewise, a three-man front with Sean McNanny, Fred Smerlis, and Bruce Smith. They have a battered linebacker core. Guy Frazier, Eugene Marv, George Cumbie, and Darryl Talley. Cornerbacks are Rod Hill, who used to play for Stallings, Charles Romes, Martin Bayless, and Freeman are the safeties. From the 26. Caught by Mitchell. And good yards as he stayed in bounds across the 30-yard line. And the tackle by Martin Bayless.
Talking to Jim Schaffner before the football game, he felt like they had to control the football and keep the offense of the Buffalo Bills on the sideline. But not only by running the football, but by coming out with short, positive, possession-type passes early. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw 3 or 4 in a row.
And a 7-yard pickup on that one. There's Schaffner, about whom Joe Theismann was talking. They have 2 tight ends, Greg LaFleur and Doug March. Very tight formation. Mitchell, the tailback, behind Earl Farrell. J.T. Smith, wide receiver to the right. Big hole from Mitchell, and the first down of the day. He was driven back by Steve Freeman. Buffalo is really concerned about their linebackers, Joe.
They are. They've been all beat up. They lost Jim Haslett, who called their defensive signals. Now Eugene Marv has to make the calls. They're just not comfortable. Cumbie has joined the ball club, and they're making adjustments as they go. They're really learning. They're young in that area, and they're going to have to get together and play as a unit. There's a lot more calls that go on with the linebackers and the front line. The front 7 on defense must communicate. That is the problem they're having.
2 wide receivers now, Smith and Holman. Holman has never caught a pass in the NFL. He's off to the right, and Smith splits left. First down pass again. Same play. Screen. And Mitchell stumbled after going across the 40-yard line. He'd have picked up quite a few more yards.
He would have. It looks like they're going to be content to swing the ball out to Stump Mitchell. You know, you talk to the Buffalo Bills, and the name Stump Mitchell comes up, not only on special teams, but on offense as well. They respect his ability as a running back and a kick return specialist very much.
The word we hear after that 6-yard gain is that O.J. Anderson will play. Lomax has Mitchell and Farrell. Wide receivers, Smith and Holman. Up front, Sharp, Kennard, in place of Dawson, Clark, Bostic, Smith, and Doug Marsh. And a 2nd and 5 call here. Mitchell in motion. And it's caught by J.T. Smith for a first down across midfield. How do you stop that play?
You don't. What you hope is that the receiver drops the ball. It's a real quick get off by the quarterback, fakes into the line of scrimmage to hold the 2 inside linebackers of Buffalo, creates a hole so that linebacker can't get in the gap. The wide receiver runs a quick post. Bang, you've got yourself about a 10-yard gain.
Who'd you used to throw that one to over at Washington?
Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown. You made a living with Charlie on that one.
Another first down for St. Louis. Well, they've thrown on first down twice. Let's see if they do it again. At the Buffalo 44, here's Earl Farrell going wide. He slips down. There's very little running room, and he got only a yard or so. This turf is wet, by the way. I guess we better point that out.
Yeah, it is. It's a little damp. They had some rain here last night, and I think the footing is not going to be as good as the players might have hoped. You've seen 2 players slip and stumble already.
It is 2nd down and 8. We have played almost 4.5 minutes, and there is no score. Both teams really expect to win this game.
They certainly do. There's quiet confidence on the part of the Cardinals and a little bit more boisterous confidence on the part of the Bills.
2nd down and 8. Four-man rush. Swing pass to Mitchell. Nothing doing. They got up there quickly. Eugene Marb held away, and then Fred Smerlis came over. And it's 3rd and long for St. Louis. And there's Gene Stallings. He says he wants them to play tough. He said, but you can't play tough if you don't have tough people.
That's exactly right.
Cardinals have been terrible on 3rd down. They've made a first down only 3 times in 24 tries. Extra defensive back Derek Barrows is in there along with Mark Kelso. 6 defensive backs. And it's 3rd down and 7. So out of the shotgun is Lomax. They split Marchant, so they have 3 wide receivers. Buffalo shows the blitz. 4-man rush. They pick it up. And Lomax throws incomplete. He was going to swing it out to the side. Then he changed his mind, and he drilled the ball into the turf. And Dean Prater was there putting pressure on him, and it's 4th down, and the Cardinals will have to punt.
Well, the Cardinals moved the football. I think they really wanted to get down the field a little bit. They had no drop passes. They had no real bad plays. That's got to be a lift for them psychologically.
And the punter is Arapastathis.
Evan.
His punting average is modest. And Rod Hill is back to get it, standing at his 10. He will have to be judicious with regard to a fair catch or letting the ball go. He tries for the sideline, and this ball is kicked out of bounds somewhere near the 15-yard line. They mark it at the 14. The fans don't agree with the officials. Buffalo gets the ball for the 2nd time. No score, 9:18 remaining in the first quarter. A 27-yard punt, but good enough. Jim Kelly played 2 years in the other league. First, he was Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, look at those numbers. 1985 USFL MVP, 9,842 yards passing. That's in 2 years. 83 touchdowns and 63%.
And he has completed 60% of his passes thus far in the first 2 games with Buffalo.
He doesn't care what league he plays in. He feels like a quarterback's job is to throw touchdown passes and complete them.
And the one thing he likes to do is
throw the ball deep.
He likes to get it downfield. He's 6'3", 215-pounder. Played college football at Miami. The ball's at the Buffalo 14 with Bell, the tailback. More of the up back. And here's a fake and a pass. Long. That's what he likes to do. And Lonnie Young is there. Had very good position on Jerry Butler. How far did he throw the ball in the air? Inside the 40. Threw it about 60 yards plus.
He's got a gun, I can tell you that.
Lonnie Young did a good job. He's coming off of a bad ankle. He played last week despite the fact that he was hobbled. Safety men are Smith and Lonnie Young. He had help down there, too.
Yes, he did. He had lots of help. I think they're aware that Butler likes to go deep, and Kelly throws the ball well deep, so they're just not going to give him the cheap long one.
Lionel Washington was back there to help out, and it's 2nd and 10 from the 14. Now split backs with Moore and Bell. And the tight end Metzelard likes to throw to him. He swings it out here to Moore. And Moore is way short of a first down on that 2nd down pass play. And Charlie Baker, the linebacker, 52 first there. Lionel Washington came up, helped out a 5-yard gain. 3rd down coming up. And Denver jumps ahead, a home run with a man on, and Denver leads Philadelphia 2-0 in the first quarter.
What inning?
First inning.
First inning.
Dennis Thurman checks in defensively for St. Louis. He's number 32 out there. And he directs traffic. 3rd down and 5.5. Kelly throws over the middle and interference. There's a hit by Lionel Washington. He bumped a man. He ran into Andre Reed. I don't know why he bumped him, whether he just couldn't stop or what, but that's a first down.
I think he did. I think he wound up breaking on the ball.
Which Jim Tunney calls the interference against Lionel Washington. There's no doubt about that one.
I think he wound up breaking on the ball. You'll see the ball being thrown there. The ball is high. There's contact, obviously, before it. I think he just anticipated, and the ball didn't go quite where he wanted it to.
I don't think the receiver would have caught the ball anyhow.
Absolutely not. Too high.
The ball's at the 29. Jerry Butler and Andre Reed are the wide receivers, with Butler to the right. They play a little bump and run on him. And here comes Greg Bell. A good strong hit was made by E.J. Jr. after a modest gain. 4 yards. Now, we told you that Jim Kelly can throw long. This is what he did last week in their game against Cincinnati. This, by the way, is the longest touchdown pass so far this year in the NFL. You talk about a cannon.
Well, he can put it out. He really can.
And we're back to live action here, and it's 2nd down and 7 from the 32 of Buffalo with Riddick in the backfield. Riddick running the ball. Oh, a good strong runner. They love that fella. He played at Millersville in Pennsylvania. 3rd down coming up. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Jack and Joe, here's how the Colts struck first against the Rams. The Rams had fumbled the opening kickoff. Then it was George Wansley around the right side, 10 yards. It is 7-0 right now, Colts over the Rams. Let's go back to Jack and Joe.
All right, Brent, we have 7:15 left here in the first quarter. Clock running, 3rd down and 3. Confronts Buffalo from their own 36. They come after him, and Leonard Smith coming in on a safety blitz. Missed him the first time, came back and got him the next.
There you see the secondary coming all the way around. Gene Stallings felt like he just can't get enough pressure with his front four. He's going to have to bring secondary people. There you see Leonard Smith come around, get blocked, and still have time. You have to give credit to the people covering downfield man-to-man. You'll see from the top right of your screen, there's Smith, goes around the block and gets him. And got him. He says, I want you.
Now, Buffalo likes to throw out a punt formation, but they won't throw here. This is the second kick of the day for John Kidd, and Sikahema back to get it. A low snap. He handles it, hangs it high. Should be well covered, but it isn't. And the ball's taken on the 26. Now it's well covered. And downfield was Guy Frazier, a linebacker, and the Cardinals get the ball for the second time. A 38-yard punt, a 4-yard return. 6:41 left in the first quarter. No score. You've heard of a cast of thousands. There's a cast of 45 right there.
On his right hand, there's a cast of 45. He broke that in the opening game against the Rams. Played all last week. Felt it bother him a little bit, and they had to obviously put the cast on for this particular game. He said after the Falcon game, he got in the locker room, didn't realize the door was open, made some comments to his teammates telling them, look, we have to get out there and start to play. He has taken it on himself to say, I want to be a leader on this football team.
Which is not to say that he's a perfect player, but
No.
Gene Stallings doesn't demand perfection. He just wants you to try as hard as you can.
That's right. Go out there and do the best you can.
From the 30-yard line, the Cardinals have the ball for the second time. Farrell and Mitchell split backs. 2 tight ends. And 2 wide receivers with Holman in motion. Rolling right is Lomax, and it's overthrown to Doug Marsh. And to get it over the linebacker. It's a tough throw. You've got to thread the needle on that one. It's incomplete.
It is a tough throw. There's not a big space between the drop of the linebackers, although they did run play-action pass, and the deep secondary.
We saw the Ram game with Lomax. He showed us a little more mobility there than he did in the first game.
He feels real good. In talking to the coaches, they feel like he's had an excellent week. He was nicked up early. Now he's coming around and is a lot healthier.
They've thrown 3 times on first down out of 4 tries. Now they may be committed to the passing series or a draw play or a screen. And Stump Mitchell caught it for good yards. 3rd and short coming up. George Frazier, the linebacker, was there. Let's see how the Cardinals have been riddled. First of all, Benny Perrin retired long before his time was due because of an injury. Roy Green's going to be operated on tomorrow in Columbus, Georgia. Pat Tilley's career is in jeopardy with a back injury. Curtis Greer had a knee injury, and Doug Dawson, the starting left guard, out with an Achilles problem.
You know, this is a situation where you want to have the option maybe to run the football with a back as big as O.J. Anderson, but Stump Mitchell's, no slouch back there.
And now they split the back, so they could give it to Farrell on 3rd down and 1. 2 tight ends. Motion by Marsh. Mitchell got the first down. There wasn't much of a seam, but he appeared to follow Joe Bostic in the center, Randy Clark.
Well, he's a little guy. He'll find that little hole right in the middle, squirt through for 2 or 3 yards. That was a 3rd down conversion, something the Cardinals have not been very successful at all year.
Up to the 42 and a first down for St. Louis. Scott Holman checks back in. 5:25 left in the first quarter. Holman is to the right. J.P. Smith to the left. Smith is hurt also, but he's playing. Mitchell in motion. Little dump off pass to Farrell. He worked hard to get about 2 yards on the play, and George Cumby, the former Green Bay linebacker, number 58, made the hit a 3-yard gain. This Farrell is a big back, 6-footer, 224. Well, Pittsburgh and Minnesota in the first quarter tied 7-all. That game's at Minnesota. And Denver adds more runs, and they lead 5-0. They're still in the third inning. Denver leading Philadelphia. And here we have 2nd and 7. Motion by Holman. And a toss to Mitchell. Good block by Farrell. And a good gain by Mitchell. Apparently a first down. Steve Freeman made the tackle. You need that good fullback if you're going to spring anybody loose on this field.
You really do. Farrell's been the kind of fullback that has helped O.J. Anderson to the great years that he has had. He's responsible for blocking and kicking out that linebacker and making the play. Here you'll see him lead through the hole, jumps through, gets on Bayless, makes the secondary people make the tackle. You don't mind the secondary people making tackles 8-9 yards down the field.
A very conservative approach by St. Louis, and a first down at the 47 of the Bills. Holman right, J.P. Smith left. Mitchell in motion, and a first down run by Farrell. And a flag goes down after a pickup of about 3 or 4. We haven't had many penalties, but we have one here. That stops the clock with 3:35 left in the first quarter. Offside against the defenders. That'll make it 1st and 5 St. Louis.
Looked like Fred Smirlis, the nose tackle, tried to jump the count a little bit. He gets right on the center's nose, and if that ball gets moved just a hair, bang, he's gone.
Jim Tunney, the referee. Tom Hensley is the umpire. Head linesman is Sid Seaman. The line judge is Bob Beeks. He's from St. Louis, by the way. Back judge Jim Carney. Gil Mace, the side judge, and Ron Spittler, the field judge. This is a good call for a quarterback. 1st and 5. I bet Jim Schaffner relishes this situation.
He'd like to have a lot more of these than he would the 3rd down and 10s he's been getting.
1st and 5. Mitchell popping in, spinning. How far did he go? Very close to a first down, and he is right at the marker. Smirlis is the nose guard, and Randy Clark the center. They had a battle.
Yeah, you see him where he's lined off to the right in the center of your screen there. As the ball is snapped, Smirlis shoots the gap. Clark does a nice job. All he has to do is get a hand on him, and he gets out of position.
Had him turned around, didn't he?
Absolutely. It's tough. I've found that's from the old Pittsburgh days where they offset that nose tackle, make the guy shoot a gap and try and clog things up 1 or 2 yards deep in the backfield.
They're measuring to see if Mitchell made it, and he missed. So it's 2nd down and an inch here in the first quarter.
You know, we were talking about 1st and 5 being the call you like to have. 2nd and an inch isn't a bad one either.
I know who loved this one more than anybody and cashed in on it more than anybody in the history of the game was Bart Starr.
The master.
He would burn you on this one, man.
He could play head games with the defense, as well as any quarterback ever could.
2nd down and 1. Now Smith lines up tight on the left side. Now splits out. Holman is a flanker right. 2nd down. First down with Farrell near the 30-yard line. St. Louis not doing anything crazy, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, that was a situation where you had 2nd down and inches, maybe a possible opportunity to take a shot down the field. They want to sustain drives. They want to keep Buffalo's offense on the bench. They feel like that's the best defense.
Gene Stallings told us last night, he said, we're going to win this game. He said, in fact, if I were a betting man, he said, I'd bet on the Cardinals.
He felt very positive. He said, and forget the fact that I'm the coach.
The ball is at the 30. Another St. Louis first down. thrown on first down frequently in the first quarter. Attaboy. Make it nice and clean so everybody can see, Randy. Well, not just because I went to Ohio State. I don't think they teach them how to count at Michigan.
Oh, come on. Gee, that's terrible, Jack.
Well, they had 1st and 5 a while ago. Now they have 1st and 15.
Here you just want to pick up maybe the 5-6 yards, come up 2nd and 9, and you're back into a normal count situation.
St. Louis has been penalized more yards, not more penalties, but more yards than anybody else in the National Football League.
That just means you're making a lot of mental mistakes. That's really been their problem. They just can't quite execute, and a lot of it is mental. It's not that the effort's not there, but they're just not thinking good on their feet yet. 1st
and 15, and a toss to Farrell. He got about 3 or 4 of it back, that's all. There's a 4-yard gain, and Freeman and Romes made the tackle. Charles Romes playing on the corner. 26, he's been a fixture here in Buffalo for a long time. This is his 10th year out of North Carolina Central. Playing even longer than him is Steve Freeman. This is his 12th year. He's number 22. He's a free safety. 2nd and 11. Less than a minute left in the first quarter. No score. Well, Holman, number 82, hasn't caught a ball in professional football yet. Mitchell in motion. Blitz is on. They pick it up, and it's batted down. He was trying to get it to Holman, and the big linebacker, Frazier, got his hands up.
You know, it's just a tough thing. You get the offensive lineman to cut down the big defensive guys up front, but you just can't do much about the linebacker. Here you'll see Lomax go back and sit. Now, right in the left part of your screen. There he goes up. Hits him right in the face, actually, not even his hands. Good coverage by Buffalo anyway.
3rd and 11 as a result. Along the sideline, you can bet that John Lee is hoping for a few more yards on this play because this is about the limit of his distance.
He's 0 for 1 from 49 yards. So.
Out of the shotgun. Doug Marsh splits out. 3 wide receivers. The blitz is on. Screen pass, and it's incomplete. Buffalo had that one covered very well with Frazier and Cumbie, 2 linebackers. And St. Louis sends John Lee out there to see if he can crack one through. He's 1 out of 2 in field goals.
Yeah, from the distance between 40 and 49 yards, though, that was his only miss. So
he missed at 48 he
yards.
Hit at 28.
This is about his maximum range. He feels like inside 40 yards he should make it, but here it gets a little tougher for him.
This is a 49-yard try with Kent Austin, the quarterback, holding the ball. High snap. They got it down. That's short. The ball comes out to the line of scrimmage. Rick DiBernardo snapped it a little bit high. And John Lee just doesn't thump the ball much harder than that. 31 seconds left in the quarter. Well, Buffalo has the ball for the 3rd time. 31 seconds left in the first quarter. No score, and what do you think of it so far?
I think both defenses have played very well. You know, the Cardinals have been a little suspect, injured of course, and Buffalo on offense they've kept Kelly under wraps.
What a difference without Roy Green.
It really does make a big difference.
You can tell that Buffalo is very confident the way they're playing defense, whereas a fellow like Green can shake you up. Now the ball's at the Bills' 31. They have Bell and Moore in the backfield. Motion by the tight end. Metzelars and a toss to Bell and a flea flicker. And he airs it out, and it's wide open and caught by Chris Burkett. That's the oldest play in football, 52 yards.
It's also one of the most successful. Buffalo knows that St. Louis has got to get their secondary people involved in stopping the run. There you see the secondary come up. Greg Bell goes into the line of scrimmage.
There's Leonard Smith.
Now you got to head downfield. There's no way you're going to get back there. Burkett makes the catch, and all the Cardinals can do is knock him down.
Burkett took it at the Cardinal 13-yard line, a 51-yard gain.
You know, talking to Jim Kelly yesterday, he says, we've got a flea flicker in, but we're not that kind of a team. We probably won't use it.
He lied to you.
I know. Typical quarterback. You don't want to tell anything. When you got the goodies, you don't want to tell them.
It's going to end the first quarter before they snap the ball again. And we have a scoreless first quarter. When we resume, the Bills will have the ball at the Cardinal 18. Hey, they love it here. We start the second quarter, and we'll check with regard to what's happening elsewhere. Atlanta and Dallas scoreless in the first quarter. Tampa Bay and Detroit the same. Denver leading the Eagles 12-0 in the first period. A tie, Pittsburgh and Minnesota in the first quarter. Rams tied in the first quarter against Indianapolis. And a tie, Seattle and New England. Out of close games. And here the ball is at the Cardinal 18 and a first down for Kelly and company. More of the up back. Bell the tailback. Bell got free. He was knocked down by Baker and E.J. Jr. Looked like Baker tripped him up just before St. Louis missed the field goal. The Cardinals had kept the ball for a time period of 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Bubba Baker, number 60, playing that right defensive end. And Cedric Mack is in there, number 47, playing the right corner in place of Wayne Smith.
And Mack was moved back over from offense this week. He's been offense, defense. Now he's back over playing the corner.
It's hard to do, isn't it?
It really is.
You don't get all that practice time you need. 2nd and 7. A reverse to Burkett. 1st and goal. Burkett, who caught the long pass off the flea flicker, just ran for a first down inside the Cardinal 4 with Cedric Mack bumping him out. And we have a discussion, a flag on the field. Officials have huddled up. It was a late flag. There's another one.
No, that's the one that came out now.
That's Bob Beeks who threw the flag.
Flag down.
A procedure call. I didn't see a flag, but then I saw the discussion, and then, well.
I have a feeling it may have been an ineligible man.
Illegal formation. No end on the line of scrimmage. Still second down.
No end on the line of scrimmage. That's Hank Buller, the head coach of Buffalo.
What happened is evidently the wide receiver lined up off the ball.
He's yelling at the official. He says, come here. And the official said, leave me alone.
I want an explanation. What happens is that tackle becomes the end man on the line of scrimmage. He's ineligible. Becomes an illegal formation. Bang, you wind up with a 5-yard penalty. Mental errors have hurt Buffalo as much as any football team in their first 2 losses.
Yeah, they're a lot like the Cardinals. They've had a lot of penalties. It's 2nd and 12. Andre Reed is in as a wide receiver, and he's in motion. Kelly is blitzed. He is hit and down by Leonard Smith, who came tearing in. The ball came loose, and Kelly fell on it. Watch E.J. Jr. on this one.
Here he comes right up the middle. Gets taken on. Leonard Smith around the outside. Just gets Kelly's arm as he's letting it go. Kelly falls on the ball. Jr. down there on the bottom. This is an area where the Cardinals feel like they have to put pressure on Kelly. They can't let him stand back there and throw the football. They have a lot of respect for what he can do with it.
It's the 2nd sack, and it is 3rd down and 18 at the Cardinal 26. Eric Richardson is in as a wide receiver. Burkett goes in motion. Out of the shotgun, Kelly. Over the middle, and a big hit on 3rd down. Well, that gets closer to field goal range. What a good tackle that was by Leonard Smith. And Burkett is slow in getting up. He's all right, though.
There's Kelly back in the shotgun, which is an unfamiliar formation for him. You see Baker come around the outside. Kelly fires this thing down the middle. Burkett gets up and gets tagged. That's a heck of a catch by a receiver. It's one thing to get hit. It's another thing to land on the ground that hard and hold on to it.
They're back to the original line of scrimmage, which is the Cardinal 18. And Scott Norwood is in to try He's 3 out of 3. The punter, John Kidd, will hold it. It's a 36-yard field goal try. Justin Cross will snap the ball. Buffalo leads 3-0. The old Fleet Flickers set that one up. 12:47 remaining in the half, and the Bills are first to score. We have 12:47 remaining in the half. He likes it. All right. The Cardinals have missed a field goal, and Buffalo has made a field goal, and Buffalo leads by the score of 3-0. We're at Rich Stadium with about 65,000 on hand. Scott Norwood will kick it off. Stump Mitchell is deep, along with by Sikahema. Norwood, by the way, played at James Madison. They've been groaning here about the fact that he hasn't put the ball very deep on the kickoffs.
No, he hasn't. I think a lot of it has to do with the weather conditions also up here.
This one's going to be returned by Mitchell with Sikahema out in front blocking. 4, 10, 15, 20, 25 out to the 30. For Mitchell, who leads the NFL in kickoff returns, and Al Garner was downfield to make the tackle. Now the Cardinals get the ball for the 4th time. Actually, the 3rd time they've had the ball. Well, who has to say anything about that game on CBS next Saturday? Oklahoma #1, Miami #2.
Scored 63 points yesterday, Oklahoma did.
How many different people carry the ball?
14 or 16 guys carrying the ball.
Well, Testaverde will check their pass defense. The ball is out to the Cardinal 30. Motion by Holman. First down pass. Pressure. Lomax is hit. That's incomplete. No fumble. Incomplete. Incomplete. Sean McNanny, number 95, got his arm. You know, you got to give a quarterback better protection than that.
Oh, you really do.
Now they've overruled it, huh? They've overruled it. The referee, Tunney, said no, incomplete. I saw him, and you saw him too. Now they've overruled it. The other officials are in on it. I kind of think that they got it right, but they did change it. Now we may be getting help from upstairs.
There's the box. We're going to...
I kind of thought that his arm had not moved forward. Let's see.
Here you see him slide to the left.
Okay, it's not going forward yet.
Trying to get the ball downfield.
No, he was still on his backswing.
Yes, he was.
If they give the ball to Buffalo, it will be a correct ruling.
I believe
to my mind.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. He starts back, and right there it gets hit. The ball is not in his hand when he starts it forward.
Well, now that looked a little different there.
The other angle was the one.
Yeah, but they looked different on both angles, didn't they? It's a fumble. A fumble charged against Lomax and recovered by Buffalo at the Cardinal 26. Well, let's see how tough this Cardinal defense is.
Well, this is where a gunslinger like Kelly likes to put it up right now. Try and go for the throat, get one in the end zone real quick.
Machine Gun Kelly. He had Moore in the backfield and Bell in motion. It looked like Buffalo was offside. And the flag is down. The pass is caught, but this won't count. That was first down yardage, but they'll bring it back.
Flag's down.
Another flag is down, and that's going to be against Buffalo.
Left tackle jumped offside. See Jim Tunney talking to him.
That was Ken Jones. He said he didn't do it.
He said, no. Wasn't me, Jim. Come on.
Illegal motion, number 88, 5 yards, still first down.
They call it against the tight end, Pete Metzelaars. First and 15 at the Cardinal 31. Four-man rush. Screen pass. Somebody's in the middle of it. And they're back near the original line of scrimmage. Be second down and about 9. Lonnie Young finished it off. Cardinals were chasing all over. Elsewhere, Dallas now leads Atlanta in the second quarter, 7-3. Tampa Bay jumps ahead of Detroit in the second quarter. Steve Young is starting down there. Another USFL performer of the past. Denver leading in the second quarter, 12-0 over the Eagles. And here we have second and 10, we'll call it. Wayne Smith is back in at the right corner defensively for the Cardinals. Second and 10. Blitz is on. They run by the blitz. A proper call, Joe.
Sure was. You know, they're bringing Lonnie Smith outside. Lonnie Young really doesn't get involved in the play. They run right up the middle. If you've got blitzers coming, here's what happens. You give the ball to the second man through. There you see Galloway get pushed away. And look at that hole up the middle. Now it's up to Bell. Now he's in the secondary. Missed tackle.
Yeah, Lonnie Young went after the ball. Wayne Smith finished him off a 13-yard gain. Add to the Cardinal 13 and a first down. And a toss to Bell. Boy, they took the linebacker Baker out of there. About 9 yards. Smith and Young made the tackle. They really kicked Charlie Baker out.
Well, you just can't do that as a linebacker. You've got to stand there and hold your ground. You see, he's catching the block now. Moore gets on him and just slides him out. Look at the hole. As he slides, that hole gets bigger and bigger. You put a lot of pressure on the inside linebackers and the secondary to fill.
You got to fight through that block.
You've got to hold your ground. You cannot be taken back like that.
Second down. And a yard and a half, actually, at the 4. Moore of the up back, Bell the tailback. Bell stood up right at the line of scrimmage and no gain. Third down coming up in a long one. And a little fight breaks out on the other side of the field. A very brief one. Lyle Washington got into it. Gary Doolin was in there defensively with no good. There's Gene Stallings wondering if his club's going to fall further behind. He trails 3-0.
This part of the football field is where they're called gut checks. They check and see how tough the guys are on defense. You've got to dig in. You've got to stop them now. They're going to be blitzing. They're going to be coming. So it's going to be one-on-one, man-on-man.
Think we'll see an option play here?
I think he's going to try and throw it.
Third down. Timeout.
No, he's not.
Third and 2, and Kelly wants to make sure that he cashes in on this scoring opportunity. Brought it back by the fumble. 9:11 remaining in the first half. Buffalo leading 3-0 and knocking at the Cardinal door.
There's the guy who's circled right just to the right of the goal post. Now what happens when Kelly gets to the line of scrimmage, he's going to see Galloway slide a little bit to his right. As a quarterback, you're looking for certain things either with the linebacker or the defensive line. Now Galloway's lined up. Kelly goes under the center. Galloway takes his position. Now he moves a little bit to the right. There you see it. Now Noga slides in. Kelly says, no, I don't want that. I don't want to give up a bad play.
He didn't want Noga. Now it's third down and 2 at the 5, and that's stopped by St. Louis. And fourth down coming up. Al Baker with a strong tackle, and he got some help, and now these Buffalo fans say go for it.
There's no question that the Buffalo fans want him to go for it.
Yeah, it's 4th and 1. Hank Buller, the Buffalo head coach, along with Jim Ringo, his offensive coordinator, are going to go for it. They bring in Gary Wilkins, a big fullback out of Georgia Tech. The ball is at the 4th, and it's 4th and 1. 4th and 1 at the St. Louis 4. You know, if they get a touchdown, they may make the Cardinals come out of their game plan on offense.
Unfortunately, that's right.
2 tight ends, 3 backs, 4th down, and a fake, and a pass, and it's incomplete. He had Metzelar as the ball was thrown high. A flag is down. Kelly is down, and a flag is down. Freddie Joe Nunn blasted Kelly as he threw the ball.
He sure did. Now, there's a
He keeps
great
getting up, though. I'll tell you this, he is tough.
He is a tough guy. Roughing the
That's
passer.
an automatic first down. And a bad play by Freddie Jones.
St. Louis did everything they had to stop Buffalo down there. It would have been fourth down. They would have had the ball. No harm, no foul.
Here's the hit on Kelly after he threw the ball.
This is a gutsy call by the Buffaloes. He fakes into the line. Now he starts to roll out. Kelly can throw on the run. There's Metzler. There goes the ball up in the air. Now he dumps Kelly right at the top of your screen. You can see him dump him in. I don't know.
It's tough to let him go, I tell you that.
It's tough to let him go, but Jim Tunney has been an official that has protected quarterbacks. I'll be honest with you, I can't see anything wrong with protecting the quarterback.
Yeah, but how do you let him go if you're the linebacker?
Well, you don't. It's one of the calls. You almost rely on the official to hope that it's not too hard a hit.
First and goal at the 2. Ask Lomax about a hard hit in the Chicago Bear game. And Moore goes up, walking over. Make it 9-0. So instead of having the ball on the incomplete fourth down pass, the Cardinals give up the touchdown to make it 9-0. And Ricky Moore followed Ken Jones and Butch Roll, the tight end, into the end zone. 8:25 left in the half. Now the thing that Gene Stallings hates about this is that it may take his club out of their offensive game plan.
It has. In this football game, they've done exactly what they wanted to do. Nothing real flashy or fancy, but they have moved the football. Now they're going to have to start throwing it. They just don't have the people outside to get it done.
The ball is at the 10, and Scott Norwood will try the extra point. He's missed one this year, but this makes it 10-0. Raiders haven't won this year, and the Giants travel there, and they'll be playing at Los Angeles, and you'll see that here on CBS as the second game of the Sunday doubleheader. And when we get a chance, we'll try to show you again that hit on the quarterback, which has changed this game around completely.
It really has. I think the Cardinals have done a wonderful job.
I've seen worse hits than that.
Yeah, there have been, and there hasn't been called. But again, you have to understand sometimes the official's going to make a judgment. It's a judgment call by the official whether or not he was hit extra hard.
Now the ball's off the tee again.
You know, we talked earlier about this stadium. It doesn't look like it's real windy. It's a bit of a bowl. It doesn't sit down, but it's enclosed all the way around. But you do get a pretty good breeze down on the field.
You ever kick a ball that blew off the kicking tee, brother? That hurts.
I kicked the ball once, Jack. It went 1 yard, so I don't get a chance to.
And this one will be returned by Sikahema from the goal line. A saving tackle. A saving tackle was made by Ray Bentley, a new linebacker with his team, number 50. Big return, and they were frightened of these two.
The special teams for the Cardinals have been their leader all year long. Watch him make the cut. Cuts right up into the heart of the defense. There he goes. Now you'll see Bentley just get a hand on him right there. Guarantee a Sikahema saw 6.
The ball is at the 44-yard line, and a first down for the Cardinals have been shut out. They line up in the I formation. Lomax starts Holman in motion. Gives the ball to Mitchell. Good lead block by Luis Sharp. And good yards for St. Louis. Here's the Buffalo touchdown a moment ago.
Here you'll see in the circle you have the whole left side of the line. Kent Hull, the center, Jim Richard, Ken Jones, and Butch Roll at the end position. Now they'll turn around, hand off to Moore. Start the tight end in motion. Now you turn around. Now look at the job that left side does. They just knock everybody back into the end zone. Moore does a nice job running over Noga for the touchdown.
Mitchell just got 8. And they're in Buffalo territory. Earl Farrell goes for the first down to the 45-yard line. Well, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York, see what's going on.
Jack, let's take a look at Steve Young, quarterbacking in place of Steve DeBerg, and here he is doing what he does best, taking off with the ball against that Detroit defense and scoring the Buccaneers' second touchdown. It's 14-0, Bucs over the Lions, and they're in the Silverdome. Back to Jack.
Okay, Brent, we thought Young might start for Tampa Bay, and indeed he did, and he puts them on the board. Now it's the first down of the Bills' 45. J.T. Smith to the left, Coleman to the right. Quickie out here to J.T. And that's a good game. You can't ask for more than that on that play.
That's what the play's designed for. It's designed to get 5 yards, and now you're on second down and 5. It's controlled passing. It's a controlled game. St. Louis realizes they've got to keep Buffalo's offense off the field.
Lomax. Now look at the Rams opening up the gap as they're undefeated in the second quarter. New England has their hands full with Seattle, 10-7 the second quarter. And the Jets lead Miami 10-7 in the second quarter. It was a 5-yard gain on the pass to J.T. Smith. Farrell's good for only a couple. The linebacker right in the middle of things. Darryl Talley made the tackle after Eugene Marv, number 54, moved in there and jammed it up. Third down call.
Marv has taken over handling the signal calling with the injury to Haslett in the Chicago game. And they feel like he's come along very well. He played the weak side. There's Haslett, who made all the calls before. Now Marv has got to take over. It's been a bit of an adjustment. You get used to not seeing tight ends. It's a little bit different for a guy moving over.
Here's a tough 3rd and 3 call for Lomax. Puts Farrell on the wing. Buffalo shows the blitz. Motion by Smith, 4-man rush. They drop it off to Smith, a good straight arm and a good effort, and a first down, I think. George Fraser made the tackle. The thing about it was he had the ball in the proper hand to fend off a tackler.
That's right. You've got to keep the ball away from the pursuers. He does a great job breaking. It's a little dink pass. He comes in.
Now he's had a groin injury too, and look at him go off the field. He's had to practice all week, and now he may have a different sort of a problem, maybe a hand injury.
They cannot afford to lose wide receivers. They just don't have him.
They check him over. They didn't make the first down, so it's 4th down and a foot. Now Lomax, pretty big guy if he wants to sneak the ball, which probably would be the call. They start motion. They give it to Mitchell, and they get the first down. So the Cardinals trailing 10-0, of course, had to gamble, and Eugene Marv made the tackle, and it's a hand injury that's bothering J.T. Smith. John Omohundro, the trainer, sends him back in. There's Schaffner on the headset. A lot of people don't realize, Joe, you get an offensive player who's banged up. He has to play during practice.
They're called the scout teams. That's right. They have to give Buffalo's offense, their defense, a look at Buffalo's offense, so they have to get some wide receivers. It isn't just on game day where it's a problem.
Only one wide receiver, Holman, with 2 tight ends, LaFleur on the left and Marsh on the right. So you'd expect the running play, and here it comes, and a very good block, and a flag goes down, and you would guess holding. You would guess holding. Good block again by Luis Sharp. Mitchell apologizes to the man he knocked down over there along the sideline, and it's holding against St. Louis. Isn't that something? This photographer here has a negative result. Hello. Click, click.
Sometimes I wonder what people are looking at on the sideline.
Still first down.
Holding call against St. Louis.
First down and 20.
The call was against Luis Sharp. He made a couple of good blocks, but he was caught for holding this time.
Well, he's got his hands full. You know, he's got to block Bruce Smith over on that side, and Smith's a load to handle. He's down around 265, 270 from 300 last year.
Ball at the Buffalo 43. Now J.T. Smith is back in there. It's 1st and 20. Lomax hasn't thrown long all day. Mitchell went up and couldn't catch it. Could have, but didn't. Great throw by Lomax. What
really
can you do about that?
They tried to throw that earlier in the first quarter. He just overshot. At that time, he put the ball right where it had to be. Stump went up in the air. A lot of times receivers leave their feet to try and cradle it. And that little bit of extra precaution causes you to lose track of where your feet come down. You concentrate on landing instead of catching. Bang, you wind up with an incompletion.
Lomax has completed 54 of his passes, but he's had an awful lot of drops. And there's one there. 2nd and 20.
Cardinals need somebody to come up with a big play for him.
Lomax is 8 out of 13. A draw play. Farrell showing good speed and good running strength to the 25, and that makes it 3rd and short. That's a big play. Again, let's go to New York.
Jack, we got a dramatic turnaround in the Cowboy game. Out of the shotgun, or I should say Danny White backing up from center, and the Falcons force the fumble. And watch here as big Mike Pitts picks it up and scores, and Atlanta leads Dallas 13-7 late in the 2nd quarter. Let's go back to Jack.
Well, there's a shocker against the undefeated Dallas Cowboys. Meanwhile, Farrell's run has given the Cardinals 3rd down and 2. Here they come toward the end of the half. Motion by Holman. Give to Mitchell. Good kick out block. Big run. 1st down. I say this for those two backs, Mitchell and Farrell, they're really blowing in there.
You know, they're short guys, and they hit the holes very quickly. They get up the field. They're really getting some great work by Bostic and Smith up front. Here you'll see it's a counter play. You see Mitchell slide to his left. There goes Kennard, there goes Sharp, and there goes Mitchell off his backside. Right up the hole.
And some good downfield blocking by the wide receiver, Scott Holman.
He gets down the field. You know, he's the kind of guy who's just happy to be out here, and he wants to contribute any way he can.
Now we may have the 2-minute warning before the snap of the ball. That's what's going to happen. There's the whistle. 2 minutes left in the half. Cardinals have the ball at the Buffalo 13. It's a 1st down. Farrell's rushed for 36 yards. Mitchell for 44. Linebackers having trouble. Joe Theismann, these Bills are having a little difficulty with their linebackers stopping that run.
They really have. It's been a problem for them all year. You know, they put a lot of points on the board. They just have not been able to stop people, particularly in the 4th quarter.
Vikings jump ahead of Pittsburgh, 17-7.
No, this whole
the
drive,
same score with the Jets leading Miami.
Two good football games. This whole drive was set up by Viseka Hemmer's 45-yard return.
And there is Sekahema, number 36. The ball is at the Buffalo 13. 2 wide receivers. High formation. Final play calling has Buffalo leaning a little bit, reeling a little bit. And a delay to Mitchell with Sharp leading the play. Takes it near the 10. The ball came loose, but it wasn't whistled dead. It still belongs to St. Louis.
You know, those big defensive linemen get their hands on it.
You like this player, don't you, Bruce
I do.
Smith?
I think Bruce Smith's got a lot of talent. He's just a very enthusiastic football player. Loves having Jim Kelly on the football team. Says he can kid him. But he feels like he's the type of a player who can help this football team get to where it has to go. Defensively, they're looking for leadership. It's the first player taken in the '85 draft. You know, everybody's talked about Kelly and their offense, but their defense is going to have to come around and stop people.
Only a 1-yard gain that time by St. Louis. 2nd and 9. Derek Burrows checks in defensively in the backfield for Buffalo. Clock is running again.
There's a throwing situation here for St. Louis.
Buffalo sets up a big front. Now a little mix-up in the Cardinal backfield. And Holman can't get there.
That was inaudible.
Holman was pretty well faded over there by Burrows, who had just come into the game. And that makes it 3rd down. Lomax didn't give him much of a chance.
No, he really didn't. He made the throw, but he changed the play at the line of scrimmage. When he saw the secondary men come up and go bump and run right on the nose of his receivers, he figured we'll take a chance and try and get the touchdown by letting him go one-on-one, get outside, lay the ball in for a 6.
3rd down has been a terrible problem for the Cardinals. They've made a 1st down twice in 5 tries today. And it's 3rd down and 8 from the 11. They run it surprisingly and get a good block, and a flag is down. A flag is down as Mitchell carried inside the 5. That is first down yardage. Now let's check the penalty. There's some collision at the end. And the call is against St. Louis. Holding again. There's Jim Schaffner, the offensive coordinator. He's got to come up with a new play.
That's going to be on Scott Holman, the wide receiver, who is down there trying to block.
You think he was the one?
I believe so. That flag came in a lot later than it usually does for an offensive lineman holding.
So penalties, drop passes.
Holding. 70. 10 yards. Still third down.
They call it against Derek Kennard. You may have seen an additional one, Joe.
I thought there was one on Holmes. There's one on your left. And on the left of the screen on Rod Hill. Oh, yeah. That's not holding.
Kennard, he tackled
That's
him.
tackling.
And the guy was already out of the play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It didn't affect the
You
play,
see how late
really.
the flag comes in. That's why you think it's downfield.
Now the ball is back at the 22. Third down and long for the Cardinals. 3rd and 18. They've got to get to about the 3 for a first down, and they run it again. And it's 4th down, and they'll try for 3. Steve Freeman made the tackle. Freeman's number 22, and by the way, Freeman is tying a record as he plays in his 168th game. Lomax goes over to talk to Schaffner about what's going on out in the field from a tactical viewpoint.
That's the communication that a quarterback and an offensive coordinator have to have. You have to tell him what you see out on the field so that he can make decisions for you that help you to get the job done. And the job is putting points on the board.
Lee missed from 49 yards earlier with Austin holding. He's trying a 30-yard field goal. And he missed it. The snap was perfect. The hold was perfect. And Lee missed it, and he is now 1 out of 4. Now you got to make that, man. When they draft a kid like this as high as they did, number 2, and give him all that money.
And Buffalo doesn't even rush. I mean, it's like a practice kick. He just flat cold misses it to the right. Flat cold kicked it.
The Cardinals kept the ball for 8 minutes, ran 14 plays, missed the field goal, still shut out. Buffalo leading 10-0 probably will content to just run out the final 25 seconds on the clock. Cardinals have 3 timeouts remaining, but that can't help them. The Bills have 2. And there's Gene Stallings. He had a long session with Gene Tunney during that timeout. They stay on the ground and give it a Bell. The clock continues to run, and the Bills head for the clubhouse with a 10-0 lead. At halftime, Joe Theismann chatting with Jim Kelly. You'll enjoy that. A feature on Napoleon McCallum, who belongs to the Raiders and the Navy. And Brent, Will McDonough, and Ken Stabler, who's in the studio at CBS, will entertain you with the NFL today at halftime. Penalties again have hurt the Cardinals, and they've been shut out, and they trailed 10-0, trying to win their first game.
Joined in New York today by Will McDonough and the Snake, Ken Stabler. Kenny, what do you think about Jim Kelly?
He's a great talent, but after watching him play, I think there's something he should remember, and the coaches should remember, that he's taken some vicious shots. He is so valuable to that ball club and has made an immediate impact that he needs to protect himself, throw the ball away, and don't take some of those hits.
All right, Kenny, Will, let's get everybody up to date on the scores around the league right now. The Rams in Indianapolis, and the Rams lead at 21-7 late in the second quarter there. Buffalo and St. Louis, of course, the game you're watching is 10-0 at the half. Denver is all over Philadelphia. Buddy Ryan, Eagles defense has given up 26 points already. Pittsburgh and Minnesota, the Vikings were tied at 7. Now they have taken command of that game in the second quarter. Tampa Bay over Detroit. It is 14-3 right now in the second quarter. headquarters. Seattle and New England, and the Patriots are back with a tough team. The Seahawks came in there. A lot of folks thought they had a shot today. 17-7 Patriots in that game. Miami over the Jets, 21-17. Marino to James Pruitt for 6 yards for a Dolphin touchdown in that game. And the big one, the Atlanta Falcons trail the Dallas Cowboys by a point. They were ahead for a time with Dan Henning. And, Will, what about David Archer in this sequence right here? Was this a late hit by the Cowboys?
Oh, it not only was a late hit, but this is the Kenny Stabler call in the NFL. Remember this one, Brent, when he was playing against the Patriots? The first year they won the Super Bowl, and they had the phantom hit.
Exactly.
But
Now, watch Dorsett.
Yeah. Great block on that play by Herschel Walker to spring him free, by the way.
Then Danny White, and the ball will pop free as Brian hits him in here. And Ken Stabler, who's this that scoops up the loose ball?
One of the big Alabama players, Mike Pitts. Good pass rusher.
Good hands.
That's right. Give it to him. And then a short time ago, Timmy Newsom hops in for the Cowboys, and after the extra point, they lead it 14-13. Vince McCallum is coming up right after these messages from your local stations. Well, coming up later this afternoon, the key doubleheader game will match the Raiders in Los Angeles against the New York Giants. And you know, when the Raiders drafted Napoleon McCallum, the All-American running back from Navy, they were really looking to the future, 5 years down the road. But because of a surprise decision by the Navy, the Raiders and McCallum can proclaim, in the immortal words of George Allen, that the future is now. So we sent Ann Butler out to California to talk to the young naval officer who has been making waves.
Like many other Naval Academy graduates, by August, Napoleon McCallum had already adjusted to a life aboard ship. In this case, the USS Peleliu here at the Naval Yard at Long Beach. So when the call came, they gave McCallum the okay to play pro football while serving his country at the same time. He knew it was an opportunity he just couldn't pass up.
I was excited, you know, and I was very happy that they had reached a decision. It's something that I had hoped for, and it's something that I knew was possible. And it just had to be put in writing that I could do it.
The controversial decision to let McCallum play was made here, and the man who changed the policy was quick to defend his actions.
We think this sends a really good message to the fleet that this is the kind of people we attract, but if he can do it, we think that's great, and it's an inspiration to young people in the Navy and outside the Navy.
I see no objection to it. In fact, the Navy doesn't object to anybody, I don't believe, having part-time work if it doesn't interfere with their military duties.
Glenn Davis was an All-American at Army, but Davis had to serve 3 years before he played pro football. Pete Dawkins won the Heisman Trophy at Army, but he served in Vietnam and never played again. And the most celebrated example, Roger Staubach, who did go on to a brilliant career in the NFL, but after he completed his Navy hitch.
There's the precedent-setting aspect of opening a possible Pandora's box as far as others in other service academies.
We attended a VFW meeting in Long Beach where opinion was evenly divided, and those veterans who felt the Navy made a mistake raised questions that weren't easy to answer.
I understand this is a fantastic opportunity for the man, but I feel his obligation comes first.
What would happen if Napoleon McCallum got hurt? Who's going to take care of him? The taxpayer's going to take care of him because he's still in the Navy. And he's going to be living off the taxpayers forever.
I don't see anything wrong with doing both. You know, if you want to exert yourself and put forth that little extra effort to do something that you want to do, I feel that you should be allowed to do it.
The original Napoleon once said, "A great army travels on its stomach." This Napoleon's main duty is supervising food services for 600 sailors.
Napoleon McCallum is a very flexible in every indication, not only a very good football player, as we've seen, but he's showing himself to be a very good naval officer.
But there still remains the disturbing question of precedent, that allowing Ensign McCallum to play now sends the wrong message to future midshipmen and cadets. Napoleon knows that he's trying to have it both ways, yet he also knows the only way to answer his critics is with performance.
Kind of put to rest some of people's feelings and to show them that I'm really working, but also to do well and do my best while I'm out on the field with the Raiders and just play real good, hard, tough football.
Well, the Raiders are going to be playing a little bit later this afternoon. Irv Cross is out in Los Angeles. Irv, the Raiders had to be prepared for this, though. Weren't they thinking they might get a favorable decision?
Well, no, they weren't prepared for it, Brett. And you're sort of good news, bad news in this situation. The good news is that McCallum has been able to meet his entire military obligation and still play pro football on the weekend. The bad news is that he's suffering from a slight hamstring pull today, and there's some questions of how much he might see as a kick returner today. And the Raiders were so surprised that the Navy made him available, they didn't even include him in the 1986 media guide.
All right, Irv. Kenny, what about trying to be a part-time pro football player?
Part-time for him, I don't think will be a lot of trouble. I think he'll be regulated too, like we've seen, as a returner, kickoff return, punt return, which is fairly simple to pick up. It's just blocking schemes, but that's probably the reason you won't see him fit into the offense, pass receiving, running the ball. So he's an intelligent young man, and I really don't think it'll be a problem for him.
Well, there's another athlete at the Naval Academy, a basketball player by the name of David Robinson.
And a great athlete, and he was involved in this thing, Brent. The Raiders felt with David Robinson sitting there, ready to be a senior, could be eligible for the NBA draft, that if the ruling went against McCallum, that Robinson might say, hey, I'm going to resign my commission. I'm not going to play. I'm going to go in the NBA. And this worked in McCallum's favor.
All right, thank you. And now let's send you back to the game you're enjoying here on CBS.
The Ohio University Band is entertaining, and at halftime you're going to see Joe Theismann visiting with Jim Kelly. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football continues after this message and a word from your local station. Jim Kelly signed with the Houston Gamblers for more than $4 million. Got part of that money. He signed for 5 years with Buffalo for about $8 million. And Joe Theismann visited with him yesterday.
Jim Kelly brings something to the Buffalo Bills. He's brought something. And the term leadership comes up. What is your definition of leadership?
Well, as a person that doesn't try to get bossy, I try to instill in all my players, you try not to be too pushy about things, and you try to let them know what's on your mind. When we're out in the field, I try to get everybody psyched up for the next series, saying, come on, let's take this ball down the field. Not so much the raw type of player, but I try to get in their minds all the positive things about football, positive things about themselves that they try to hold back.
You've signed the largest contract in the history of the National Football League. What are you going to do with all that money?
What I've always wanted to do was retire my father. I finally told my father that he will not come to any of my games unless he's retired. He said he has 3 more years left. I said, Dad, you don't have any years left. I said, as of today, you're retired. You went through enough stuff raising 6 boys. Now it's time to sit back, relax, enjoy life the way it's supposed to be.
When you were a kid growing up, and think of the dreams that you had, is where you are today a dream come true for Jim Kelly?
I've always wanted to be a pro quarterback. I've always had the dreams of playing pro, being a professional quarterback. Everybody in my family, as far as me and my 5 brothers, we all want to be good enough to be able to take care of my mother and father. My oldest brother, Pat, played for a few years, but I was lucky enough to play the position of quarterback. I had an alternative, whether to play linebacker at Penn State or going to play quarterback. And my brother, Pat, said, the money is in quarterbacking. Thank God I listened to him. But I'm excited. I mean, this is something I've worked hard for. If I can go back to a couple of days ago on my radio show, somebody asked me about that. Well, you're making $7.5 million and you're making so much on a radio show. What do you do with the money? Why should you get this much? I said, hey, when growing up, you always have your goals you want to do. I've worked for everything I've ever got. I've always wanted to make enough money where I can take care of my family and have a good time doing it. I said, and if you're complaining about what I'm making, why didn't you do that when you were 10 years old? Why didn't you set your goal that you wanted to play football and play quarterback? Now you're not. Now you're complaining? I said, I'm not complaining. I'm having a good time.
There he is. He was 4 out of 6 in the first half. 69 yards, most of them on the flea flicker, however. Hasn't been Kelly's passing, which has really told the story of this game, Joe. It's been the 2 missed field goals by St. Louis. One of them that people call a chip shot. I never used that phrase, but they weren't even rushing him. And here's a guy who was drafted number 2 that gave him all that money. I know the St. Louis contingent here, they are really wild about that kicker missing 2 more here today.
Well, you just can't afford, you can't squander opportunities. Your football team's not winning. It's not putting points on the board. You cannot squander. I'll call them chip shots if you don't want to. When you're that close.
Well, they crossed the 50-yard line 3 out of 4 times they had the ball.
They're moving the football. They're doing the things they have to as an offensive unit to get out and get the ball down the field. The problem is they just can't crack the end zone.
Scott Norwood will kick it off, and the deep men are Sikahema and Carl Carter rather than Stump Mitchell. There's Norwood. He had a 35-yard field goal in the first half, and then Buffalo scored on a 2-yard run by Moore. Carl Carter is deep. Mitchell, you saw banged up toward the tail end of the first half. Carter's a rookie out of Texas Tech, the number 4 draft pick He'll be blocking for Sikahema from the 10 to the 20 to the 30. Boy, he can run by people, and he gives Neil Lomax a good starting spot as Bellinger made the tackle. Let's look at the play that turned the first half around. It was a 4th down pass play, and instead of St. Louis having the ball, it went over to Buffalo, and then they scored.
The thing to remember here, it is 4th down. St. Louis does a fine job. There's the fake into the line by Bell. Kelly moves around outside. Now, Nunn gets him around the waist.
Now, the whistle starts to blow, and he drives him 4 more steps, and that's why they threw the flag.
What you see is not the hit. You see him being driven into the ground. That's what Tunney threw the flag on.
And the ball with Otis Anderson in the lineup is at the 37-yard line. And Anderson is out on the wing and catches the ball under a full head of steam, delivers a big hit against George Frazier. The Cardinals were hoping that Anderson would not play. Penalties, 5 for St. Louis, 3 for Buffalo in the first half.
5 crucial penalties for St. Louis.
A couple of holding calls really hurt, plus roughing the passer. Look how they had the ball for more than 7 minutes longer than the Bills had it.
St. Louis has accomplished what they want to as far as keeping their offense on the field, but they just have not been able to come up with any points. They're down 10, and they've moved the ball and kept it away from the Buffalo Bills offense.
2nd down and 4, a 6-yard pass play to Anderson, who's the tailback now behind Farrell. And it's going to be 3rd down and about a yard. That was a strong tackle, and the tackler is slow getting up. And that's Charles Rome. He's not that large, well, they've got him at 190 pounds, but when you tackle Anderson, you know you've got your arms full.
Yeah, you're 190. You're going at a guy who's 225, bigger than you are, taller than you are. Got a pair of legs on him like 2 trees. It's going to give you a little bit of a headache.
So Romes comes off the field, replaced by Bellinger. 3rd down and 2. Clark with Kennard and Bostic. Louis Sharp. Smith. There's a missed tackle and a 1st down. One of the Buffalo people had Anderson, but it is really difficult to stop him one-on-one. That was Frazier who ran by him, number 52.
St. Louis understands their problem with their wide receivers, so what they're doing is they're putting their offensive line out in front of their backs, getting them the football. Nothing more than you'd want is to have Otis Anderson out in the open field with 2 blockers.
Otis Anderson was hurt in the Ram game, didn't play against Atlanta, and we're going to get word about Mitchell. He was shaken up a bit in the first half. So there's O.J. Coleman to the left, J.T. Smith to the right. 1st down pass. Short again to Farrell. More yards. Out of bounds. That's all they're doing. They're really picking them apart, but they can't get across the goal line.
Well, they have. This is a very important drive for St. Louis. They've come out. They've stalled themselves, really. Buffalo hasn't stopped them all day. Now at the beginning of this half, they're moving the ball again. They have got to get some points out of this drive, or else their attitude is just going to start to dwindle very rapidly.
And, of course, if they fall any further behind, then they can't keep doing what they're doing now.
No, they can't play little dink. This is little dink football. Dink here, a little 8-yarder, little 6-yarder, little 5-yarder. Move the ball down, move the chains. That's all they want to do.
2nd down and a yard. Lomax 11 out of 17. Also had 1 drop. Coleman in motion. Anderson running. Stretches out, trying to get a 1st down, and he does. So St. Louis hasn't had a problem hanging onto the ball or moving the ball. It's the other thing, the field goals, the penalties.
Your offense gets yourself into position, and special teams has really been a strong point for St. Louis. Their kicking game, they've had trouble with the kicking game. That's the reason why they spent such a high draft choice on Lee.
And they needed a lot of other positions bolstered, but they went for the field goal kicker. Hasn't worked so far. 1st down call here. Marsh, the tight end on the right side. Good faking. Plenty of time, and it is caught on a comeback effort by J.T. Smith. You can see those veteran receivers, and he's in his 9th year. They know how to come back for the ball.
Oh, he's played very well. He does a nice job of driving Rodney Bellinger up the field. and coming back to the ball. Lomax moves to his left, throws very, very well. A lot of people don't realize Neil Lomax throws the ball very well on the move. Here's some scores.
Halftime, the Jets over Miami by 10. That's another first down. Ball at the Buffalo 25. O.J. very patient with his run, and he got what was there. Used the blocking very well, and Martin Bayless made the tackle, a 4-yard gain.
You wouldn't believe he got 4 yards. Looked like they had it strung out, stopped at the line of scrimmage, but the guy is so big and so powerful. If somebody hits him, he's going to pick up a couple of additional yards anyway. Schaffner sending in the play for 4-5. We'll have to wait and see what that means.
You gained 4, and let's get 5 this time. That's
I
what
think
he's
that's
saying,
what
right?
it means, yeah.
Meanwhile, the Buffalo play calling system is really complicated. We get into that a bit later on. Jim Kelly's had a difficult time coping with it, learning it. 2nd and 6 here. Smith to the left and Holman to the right. Holman still hasn't caught a ball in the pros. Marsh, the tight end, on the right side. And this is caught by Marsh. I'll say this for them. They're catching everything now. That was good for about 3, making it 3rd and short again. Doug Marsh out of Michigan. George Frazier made that tackle. Rome still hasn't returned on the corner after making that tackle on O.J. At the half, Dallas 21 and Atlanta 13. Tampa Bay leading Detroit at the half, 14-3, trying to win their first game. Denver blanking the Eagles and scoring a lot of points against them, 26-0 at the half. Rams at the half by 14 over Indianapolis. They're undefeated. 3rd down here. And 3. They've been throwing those little swing passes. Farrell goes on a wing. Anderson on that slant, turned it up nicely, and it's 1st and goal inside the 10. Well, O.J. was cutting back, and he's really hot about the whistle blowing, and the Buffalo players not relenting. George Cumby, Darryl Talley, Martin Bayless all there. They hear the whistle, it means stop, the officials down there.
J.T. Smith going in to plead his case. Is, look, you know, you got to stop them from hitting us, too.
Rod Hill plays the left corner, number 25 for Buffalo, and he used to be with Gene Stallings when Dallas drafted him number 1. He hated it in Dallas, but he loves Gene Stallings.
He really does. He has a lot of respect for Gene Stallings. He gives him a lot of credit for where the Dallas Cowboys secondary is today. You know, they've led the National Football League or been up high in the National Football League the last couple of years. He gives a lot of credit to Gene Stallings.
1st and goal at the 10. And a swing pass is ruled what? Incomplete or what? Incomplete. Yep. Incomplete. And good thing for St. Louis. George Cumby made a big hit, number 58. And O.J. coughed it up.
Well, Lomax wanted to go to the wide receiver on a quick slant. And Otis is really a checkoff man, a secondary man. He wound up getting the ball a little bit late to him. And Cumby let him know that he was somewhere in the area, very close.
Cardinals have kept the ball for more than 4 minutes on this drive. We have 10:47 left in the 3rd quarter, 10-0 Buffalo. Stump Mitchell has a banged up knee, and we don't think he's coming back. It's 2nd and goal from the 10. They're playing those wide receivers one-on-one. With a little help from the safety people, but they're playing the run much more strongly. And so Anderson slides down at the 10, and it's 3rd and goal. It rained most of the day here yesterday, and it's 3rd and goal, and I bet John Lee is getting nervous along the Cardinals sideline.
I bet you Gene Stallings getting nervous along the sidelines.
On 3rd down.
Okay.
You see the holes cut out of the toes of the shoes of O.J. because of the problems that this turf causes.
You stop and start so much, and he does a great job of stopping and starting. That there it is, right there, the little hole, and his big toes sticking out so that they don't get crammed in.
They hurt. 3rd and goal from the 10. Cardinals have used that little inside handoff frequently in a spot like this. Instead, they run the ball, and it's well covered, and it's 4th down. Now a flag. Now another flag. They've been gang tackling, and they haven't been turning them loose, and it might be a personal foul against Buffalo. That's an early guess. Frazier and Marv are on top of him. It happened earlier. The officials warned the Buffalo players. They told them, turn them loose when you hear the whistle. Now what's it going to be?
If you watch the players, you never really know what it's going to be, because one player's signaling holding, the other signaling roughing, offsetting penalties.
Offsetting foul, holding, 70 offense, personal foul, late hit, 78.
Another
defense,
call.
great
Kennard
play.
holding.
Third down.
Personal foul. They'll do it again. 3rd and goal from the 10. Here's Kennard holding.
There you see him right in the center of your screen. He's got him. He just tackles the linebacker. Just flat tackles Frazier. Now you see the extra hits coming in. They blow the. There's the hit right there. That's probably the personal foul. Freeman flying in.
Got up high. Yeah. There's John Lee with the dancing feet. Maybe this time. It's 4th. It's 3rd and goal. Meanwhile, Cardinals have kept the ball for more than 5 minutes. Still don't have any points. And remember, they threw it on 3rd down. Now they're going to throw it. They ran it. Now they throw it, and it's incomplete. He threw that one away. J.T. Smith was closest to it. And it's 4th down. Freeman was covering over there in the corner of the end zone.
That's just a good decision by Lomax. He's been down close all day. Now he just didn't want to give it up and have an interception or something more drastic, have the ball run back against you. You get the 3 points.
Lee has missed from 49 yards out and also from 30. And this one is going to be a 28-yard try. Kent Austin holding the ball. Again, they hardly rush it, and it is good. So the score amounts to 10-3. Cardinals kept the ball to the point where 9:29 remains in the 3rd quarter. Maybe that'll get them started. Number 40, Rob Riddick. Riddick at the top of your screen. 9:29 left in this 3rd quarter. Broughton took it on the 8. Outside a little bit. And the kicker made the tackle.
Well,
he got him near the sideline.
He got him out of bounds.
Well, there's Jim Kelly taking over, and yesterday Joe Theismann asked him about the biggest adjustment in the NFL.
It's not so much the throwing part of the aspect, but the play calling. It's all numbering system. You have to call the protection for the offensive line. You have to call each route for each receiver. And then you got to give the running back. So that's probably the biggest adjustment. And then as far as meeting time, meetings before meetings, meetings after meetings, that's just been probably the biggest thing. And then interviews after practice. My average day probably runs from 7:30 in the morning to about 7:30 at night. And when I was in Houston, I was coming in at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was going home by 3:30.
A give to Greg Bell, who picked up big yards. He had trouble handling the ball, but then got 9 yards on the game. Nico Noga making the tackle.
Buffalo seems content. If they're going to run the football, they're going to try and run it right straight at St. Louis, right up the middle, right up where Duda and Junior and Noga play the front for him. They've got to get those inside linebackers in that nose tackle, who is Galloway now, to stop him from running in that area.
David Galloway back in there. He didn't play in the first 2 games. Mays and Baker. Bell again. He had to leap over people to stretch it out and come close to a first down. Now here's some of the calls that Jim Kelly has to make in the huddle.
The first thing you see, I right slot, that's the formation. The second one is he's telling the line that there's a pass. The third one is check with me. That means that he's going to make the call at the line of scrimmage. And he's either going to call 36 or 37, which are the other 2 numbers. 5-8-5, that denotes what the routes of the wide receivers are going to be. Double cross tells you that that's the patterns of the back. On 2 is what the snap count is. Now,
like that on every call?
Just about every call comes out like that. Some a little bit shorter, but basically a lot of them that long.
The Bills got a first down to their own 48. First down pass by Kelly. Ample time. The ball out of bounds. Out of bounds. Wayne Smith covering on Andre Reed. The ball took off a little bit on him.
He's been throwing the ball a little bit high. You know, he threw the ball long on the flea flicker down the field, but everything else he has thrown today has seemed to come off his hands. Here, you see Reed go up. There's the ball. There's Reed going up. Now, he's got to come down with both feet inbounds, or else the official has to think he can. That ball took him out of bounds.
So it didn't matter what Smith did. The official thought that he could not have come down in bounds.
That's right.
2nd and 10. So Kelly will try it again. And he is smashed. Rushing in there was the linebacker, Anthony Bell, the #1 pick. That's the first thing he's done for the Cardinals. He's the #1 out of Michigan State and the 3rd sack.
You see Bell come in from the left of your screen. Baker comes around. Now, in the top left, you'll also see the blitz from the safety. There's Smith again coming in. They're putting a lot of pressure. They feel like they've got to get to Kelly with their linebackers and with their secondary. They can't give him time to throw.
It is 3rd down and 18. Dennis Thurman checks in defensively for St. Louis. Burkett in motion. 4-man rush. He airs it out long, and a tangle of bodies and a flag. Now, is that against St. Louis? Reed and Wayne Smith. Cardinals plead their case again.
I think they're going to determine that the ball was uncatchable, even though there was contact downfield.
That's right. They pick up the flag, and they do not mark the spot. You're right, Joe.
No flag. Pass was uncatchable. 4th down.
Uncatchable. Let's watch it.
Well, you see Andre Reed's going down. Now, the ball is really, Smith does a nice job.
He doesn't do anything.
No, but you see, you've got to give the receiver an opportunity to go.
Yeah, but he's playing the ball.
That's exactly right. Now you see the ball land way downfield. You know, that's the one thing that really has bothered me about that particular call. How do you know whether it's uncatchable or not if the guy's laying on the ground 5 yards, 10 yards back?
Here's a punt by John Kidd. By Sikahema is inside his 35. Whoa, high snap. And a high kick. Sikahema took it on the 8. And he got back to the 21. That was quite a kick by Kidd. 52 yards, a 14-yard return. And Justin Cross, who snapped the ball, made the tackle. 7:12 left in the 3rd quarter. Well, I'm sure the whole football world thinks that this is going to be a good one, with the Giants traveling to meet the Raiders out in the Coliseum. The Raiders haven't won, and there'll be fire coming out of their ears and their nose and their eyes.
Yes, that comes out of their ears, nose, and eyes anyway. But being the fact that they haven't won is not going to make them any happier.
The lights are on here at Rich Stadium. The Cardinals start from their own 21 with O.J. Anderson in the backfield with Farrell. Bowman to the right, Smith to the left. Motion by Anderson, and a power play by Farrell. He moves the pile and gets about 4 yards. The Cardinals have kept the ball for more than 24 minutes as opposed to Buffalo 13 minutes. So they've had the ball for more than 11 minutes longer than the home club. 2nd down. Still haven't been able to get the ball out to Holman, the rookie wide receiver, who's to the right. Dangerous spot to throw long. They drop it off to Marsh. He has a 1st down. He got loose late and came across the 35 with Frazier tackling him. They're doing a good job of hanging on to his throws.
They certainly are. Here's Stump Mitchell on the sidelines. Obviously, he's not dressed to play anymore this afternoon.
Oh, I didn't realize that he'd gotten out of uniform.
He's in his street clothes.
Looks like he's ready for classes. On the university tonight. And Dr. Ginsburg alongside. He's their orthopedic man. Well, Marsh caught the ball and went out to the 36.
Lomax did a real nice job. Actually, Marsh was the 3rd receiver. Did a good job dumping it off to him. And a 1st down call. Marsh on the left side. Another pass. There he is again.
And he dives across the 45, very close to a first down. How are all the other clubs doing in the National Football League? Third quarter, Dallas by 8 over Atlanta. Third quarter, Tampa Bay by 11 over Detroit. In third quarter, Denver still blanking Philadelphia, 26-0. 17-7, Minnesota by 10 over the Steelers in the third quarter. Second down, 1 yard. Think Lomax a gamble here?
No.
Of course, he doesn't
I don't
call
think
the
Schaffner
play.
will either.
They really stack up against the run. They run nonetheless. And they lost the yard. Earl Farrell could go nowhere. Frazier led the way along with Eugene Marr, both linebackers. He got back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 1. Better try something else.
Yeah, you know, Marv, Smirlis, Gumby, that the middle of that Buffalo defense. They've given up a lot of yardage, but they're really tough when it comes to third down situations. When I played against the Bills, that was the situation that I was afraid of the most. You talked earlier about a quarterback sneak in this kind of a situation. I got my bell rung with quarterback sneaks against this team.
It is 3rd down. Greg LaFleur is the extra tight end for the Cardinals. Very tight formation. Running play to O.J. 4th down. Trying to get outside, and the other linebacker, Talley, got him. You know, you can't run into a line like that.
Well, you know, it isn't so much any blocking or anything. You see Talley, the second man in from the top of your screen. He just fires in the inside gap of the tight end. There, he's got the penetration into the backfield. You see his feet now. There goes O.J. down for a 2-yard loss.
Well,
that's a great individual effort by an outside linebacker.
Here's a punt from Arapastathis. Walter Broughton is back. He's had a terrible return average. He's inside the 20. Bernardo, the snapper. Line drive will be returned. Looks like Buffalo got it. That'd be my guess. Yep, that's indicated.
Here he tries to make the play. The ball, it's a wobbly kick. It's not a spiral. He stays with it. Now he jumps on it. And he's actually going to hit it with his hand. And this has been the story of the Cardinals. They just have not been able to get possession of the ball after it's been on the ground. There in the lower part of your screen, you see that's Fred Smirlis, the all-pro nose tackle for Buffalo. Watch the penetration. This is what happens in the trenches. Everybody talks about the trenches. There he fires into the line, does a complete 360, does a complete somersault, tries out for the Buffalo gymnastics team.
That's what you call giving your life to the city of Buffalo. The ball's at the 28. It's a first down with Bell, the tailback. Moore, the upback. And Bell runs outside and gets away from Leonard Smith and gets some good yards as a result. This is what the Cardinals have been doing with the ball. They've had it about 15 minutes longer than Buffalo.
That's where, you know, they talk about statistics not having necessarily much meaning on the outcomes of football games. You would think St. Louis would be in a commanding lead in this football game when they're actually down by 7.
Ball to the 39, and that's a first down run by Greg Bell. There's Hank Fuller, Jim Ringo. He's the offensive coordinator. He's a Hall of Famer. And Bell again. Look at that hole. A few missed tackles by the Cardinals now. And this defense hasn't been on the field that long. Charlie Baker finally finished it off along with Wayne Smith.
Here again, you can see the offensive line fire out. They're really handling Baker and Baker on the right side. You see, now here's the outside linebacker, right to the right of your screen. You just can't give up that much ground. There's really nobody for anybody to hit coming through the hole.
That's not the first time we've seen that.
No, Charlie Baker's been on roller skates all day.
Somebody asked the head coach of Buffalo, Bulla, if he was going to let the quarterback call the plays. He said, yeah, if they give me a long-term contract. Bell again. Stuffed. It'll be third down and long. The ball came loose. He got it back Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Jack Buck and Joe Theismann, a dramatic turnaround. First David Archer for a touchdown, then Butler with an interception of Danny White, and now the Atlanta Falcons have gone ahead of the Dallas Cowboys 27-21. Back to Jack and Joe.
Well, Atlanta may be for real. Buffalo has not yet made a first down on a third down try today. They're 0 for 5, and it's 3rd and 4. Eric Richardson and Christopher Kett are the additional wide receivers. And Kelly has to hit one. And he did. Boy, can he drill that ball to the Cardinal 45. The Metzelaar is the tight end.
He's a big target. He's their tight end. He's actually become Jim's favorite receiver. He loves to throw the ball inside. And talking to Metzelaar yesterday, there's just a communication that you get between a wide receiver, a tight end, and a quarterback. He's a big target, third down in short situations. He's going to catch the ball no matter where you put it within range. That's exactly what happened there. He can shelter the defensive backs between the vision of the ball. Makes it easier to catch.
He's 6'7", 243. And Butch Roll is in his spot. We only have 25 seconds left in the third quarter. First down at the Cardinal 45. Cardinal really jamming it up at the line of scrimmage. Bell running. And he's good for 4. That will be the final play of the third quarter. The only points in that period, a field goal by the Cardinals, who had missed 2 earlier. Five-yard gain, 2nd and 5 coming up at the start of the last quarter.
On the right of your screen is Charlie Baker circled. Now, all day long, Ricky Moore's been kicking him out. Here's what he's going to have to do the rest of the afternoon to clog up Bell's running. You see him fight the linebacker. Now he puts his shoulder down and makes that hole a little bit shorter so that he runs him back into Bubba Baker and his friends.
Yeah, both Bakers played that one well.
Played it well. Now he's got to lower that shoulder. He's got to plant a foot and take on that block. He can't be skated out.
A gain of 5, 2nd and 5 at the Cardinal 40. Carl Byron is the up back now. It's Bell the tailback. Bell again. Oh, a big hole. And he has another first down, apparently. Let's see where they mark it. Ken Jones and Jim Richer blocking on the left side with Kent Hull, the center. Really making good blocks.
Well, also, you look at the Cardinal defense. After 2 games, they're ranked 12th in the National Football League, but that's a little bit deceptive. They're ranked 27th against the run, number 1 against the pass. People have been running the football against the Cardinals, and it looks like Buffalo is going to try and pound it out and keep their offense on the field a little bit.
Yeah, they have third down and less than a yard. The Cardinals have had the ball for almost 12 minutes longer than Buffalo, and the Cardinals have gained 207 yards, and Buffalo 138. But the Cardinals have had the game's only turnover, and that really turned it over. 3rd and a foot, and a pass. Wide open. Gary Wilkins caught it, and Lionel Washington tackled him. Well, that's play calling of the sort that we haven't seen from the Cardinals today.
That's exactly right. It's a little bit of a gamble, but you're way down in. You may as well take a shot. It's a good place. You've got the Cardinals up. You've been making third downs. You've got big backs. Bell's been running hard. Moore's been running hard. Here you'll see him fake into the line. Kelly fakes into the line. Now Wilkins come all the way around to this side. Now he's going to throw right in your lap. There's the throw. That's crossing the halfback across the pattern, making it difficult for the defensive backs to stay with him.
Ball is at the 10, and it's 1st and goal. Riddick and Byron, 2 big backs are in there. Riddick running hard. Got about 3. Riddick out of Millersville in Pennsylvania. Nico Noga made the hit. We haven't called his name very often, have we?
No, they've done a fine job. We talked about, Hall and Wolford and Richard have done a fine job on the front 3 of the Cardinals. Noga, Jr., and Galloway.
The ball just outside the 6. Bell goes back in. He's had 1 touchdown this year prior to today. Bell runs. It's wide open. 16-3. Leonard Smith missed the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Greg Bell out of Notre Dame. He's built like a linebacker, by the way. He's 5'10", 210. He's a package.
Well, I know walking around the locker room looking at these guys yesterday, he's a little guy. He's real fast, but you're absolutely right. He is one solid package.
Norwood has missed one extra point this year. Kidd holding the ball, cross snapping it. Sun trying to break through. Extra point good. 17-3 Buffalo. They've been ahead throughout. They were shut out at the third quarter, but now they've come to life. We'll return to Rich Stadium after this word from your local station.
This is CBS.
$65,000 here, and they're going wild as Buffalo tries to win their first game of the year. $65,762 paid. They lost to the Jets 28-24. They lost in overtime to Cincinnati 36-33, but they lead it here in the fourth quarter with about 13 minutes left, and there's Greg Bell, the Notre Damer, just got his second touchdown of the year. Scott Norwood will kick it off for Buffalo. By Sikahema and Carl Carter are deep. Mitchell's out of this game. Oh, a terrible kick. And the ball goes out of bounds, and it'll be a 5-yard penalty. Let's watch that last touchdown by the Bills.
Well, they run a little counter action. There you see Bell lined up right behind Kelly, more in front of him. They make the fake. There goes the fullback. Now, the offside, Wolford and Devlin make this play. Wolford makes the block. Devlin leads the way. Greg Bell goes in untouched. Little spike.
Cardinals really gambled on defense, didn't they?
They have to. They have to get their secondary involved. That's the way they feel like they can only put pressure on the quarterback. When you gamble and bring your secondary people up in support, if a guy breaks through on the run like Bell did, then it's going to be clear sailing.
Now the kickoff will come from the 30-yard line. There's no doubt that the presence of Jim Kelly has changed this franchise around. They've been flat on the back. 2-14 last year, 2-14 the year before. Their next game, by the way, finds Kansas City coming in here. And they play at the Jets. The Cardinals' next game is Monday night, a week from tomorrow, at home against Dallas.
That's right. The thing about Buffalo, if you walk around, as we have all the last couple days, and talk to their players, the presence of Jim Kelly alone has made them feel better and more self-confident.
This kick heads for Carter. Took it on the 19. The rookie's across the 30-yard line and blasted back by Tony Perjanik, the linebacker. There's Kelly. He pumps it up along the sideline, too, doesn't he? He arrived on the scene. Ralph Wilson there, the owner. And they've generated more than $1.5 million extra dollars. They've lined up to buy tickets. They can seat 80,000 in the stadium. He's a real celeb over here. And how celebrity conscious are they now? Even the cab drivers here are dressing up in tuxedos. He has changed the profile of the city. Now Lomax from the 32. And incomplete. And a flag. Rod Hill was covering over there on Scott Holman, who's trying to catch his first pass in the NFL. Now they talk it over. Was it overthrown? Could it have been caught? You talk it over, get a second opinion.
Pass interference. Defense. First down.
You see Kelly make the throw. Now right here to the left side of your screen, you're going to see Hill just run over Holman. Right through him. I mean, the ball's not even anywhere near him. No hesitation, no question. It's a clean foul, like they say.
St. Louis 37-yard line. There's Gene Stolling, those piercing eyes. Rodney Bellinger is playing the right corner for the Bills. In place of Rome's the veteran. J.T. Smith, what a catch, what a play. This guy's been hurt all week. Lomax ends up on his back. What a play with Rod Hill covering, and a flag is down back upfield, and it's against St. Louis. What an effort by those two. A 52-yard pass play is called back.
Holding 64, 10 yards.
This time on the center, Randy Clark. That'll make it 1st and 20. That ball was inside the 15-yard line down the other end.
That's a big play they needed to get him down the field, just to get a little bit of fire going for him. Wouldn't you know, it's nullified by a holding penalty. St. Louis just can't seem to get themselves out of the doldrums. You know, we were talking earlier with the coaches, both coaches, and you talk about a way to win and a way to lose. Every team has to develop an attitude. You better develop it early when you're a new coach with a new football team.
That's the 6th penalty against St. Louis, totaling 47 yards. They had roughing the passer. They've had holding 3 different times. And it's 1st and 20. Dropped off short to Farrell, and he held on to the ball. Coming up with Rod Hill. Buffalo are really fired up, aren't they?
They really are. Their defense now, you know, they've got 17 points on the board. They're all excited. They're inspired. They know their offenses. But the thing that's happened in the last couple ball games is Buffalo's defense has not held up their end. You know, they were ahead of Cincinnati with about 5 minutes to go in that game, wound up losing in overtime. They feel like this area right now in the football game is when they're going to have to play better football.
Gene Stallings is into it with Bob Beeks, one of the officials. Nice calm conversation. Out here to Marsh, Doug Marsh. He is out of bounds. Substantial gain. And it's 3rd down. Martin Bayless was the defender, an 11-yard pickup.
You know, you might say, well, why is St. Louis doing it this way? Why are they throwing 8, 9, 10-yard routes? Why don't they get the ball down the field a little bit more? You know, the game, they got 11 minutes to go in the football game. I think it's a smart approach. You can cover a lot of ground. Your defense has played fairly well. They're getting the ball back for you. Your offense has been on the field a lot. You continue to move the ball down the field this way.
3rd and 6. Out of the shotgun. And a 1st down near the 40-yard line, and that's the first pass reception ever for Scott Coleman. 18 yards. He's the rookie out of Oregon, and that's #1 for him, and quite a throw by Lomax.
Lomax looks like he's more comfortable. Here's the defense. They're in what's known as a double zone. That means the corners are up, the safeties are back. Coleman at the top of your screen does a nice job of getting up the field, makes the turn, sits in the hole. Lomax puts the ball actually in the air before he made the turn. Nice pass completion.
1st down at the Buffalo 40, and Lomax is 18 out of 26. And a whistle. Was that delay? Was that the 30-second clock that caught him?
Ball start, number 61, 5 yards, still 1st down.
That's their 7th penalty as Lance Smith moved before the snap. And look at Atlanta leading the 3rd quarter by 6 over the Cowboys. Tampa Bay continuing to score with Young as a quarterback. Denver winning handily at Philadelphia. Minnesota at home winning another game. They won last week with the Rams by 14 in the 4th quarter at Indianapolis. New England leading Seattle and remain undefeated. 1st and 15. Quickie, wide open. Marsh very close to a 1st down. Taken by Bayless, and it is a 1st down to the 30-yard line.
I just think you have to give a lot of credit to the job Neil Lomax has done controlling this offense. Things have not gone well for him. He's had holding penalties, everything else to set him back, but he continues to sit in the pocket and fire strikes. His leadership now is beginning. We talked about Jim Kelly's leadership. This is an opportunity for Neil Lomax to get his football team rallied behind him.
Without Tilly, without Green, without Mitchell.
You got to hang your hat on somebody. May as well be the quarterback.
1st down at the 30. motion, a draw play, breaks wide open with Farrell. And the ball came loose, but the play is dead at the 21 yard line. And a gain of about 9 yards on the draw, with Bayless tackling along with Steve Freeman. Clock running. Takes us to the 9-minute mark. That was a 9-yard gain.
This has been the problem area for the Cardinals all afternoon. They get down towards the red, called the red area, the other team's 20, 15-yard line. They wind up making mistakes. They can't afford it anymore.
2nd and 1. Motion by Sikahema. Even fake by Lomax. Throws to Farrell. That's a first down. Flag is down. Mark that forward progress enough for a first down. Flag came down late like it might be a face mask. Yep.
See the Cowboy productivity here. First
Good guess.
14 points. Today.
Great.
Now tack that one up. Stops the clock with 8:29 remaining.
Which is as important as anything. If Farrell was in the field to play, the clock would have continued to run, so you figure they'll lose 30 seconds. At this point in the game. At this point in the game, you have to be aware of the clock. Because you're down by 14. You score now, you're right back in it.
Bayless was caught with a face mask violation. Humphrey is trying to get the Buffalo defense fired up as they place the ball at the 8, 1st and goal.
St. Louis needs a touchdown.
I'll say they trail by 14. Nothing else will do. Smith to one. Anderson probably looking up to see where he was going, and that makes it 1st and goal back at the 16. He lost 8.
Gene Stallings has got to be saying, what else can possibly happen? Lomax makes the pitch, hits Anderson right in the chest. The ball goes, well, he's looking at the pocket. They had a little blitz on. Ball winds up on the ground. Now it's catch as catch can. Lomax going to wind up with it just at the top part of your screen. That's very intelligent play by the quarterback to follow your pitch in case something like this happens.
They lost 9 yards on the play. Second and goal. What a good catch. And the ball came loose. And it's ruled incomplete. Incomplete is the call. J.T. Smith had it. He was blasted. He coughed it up. Incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Lomax sets here. He wants to go up top. You see him set the ball real quick. He reads the defense, fires the ball. What a great catch by J.T. Smith. I'm not so sure. I thought he might have had the ball.
Yeah, I thought so too. Rod Hill made the hit, and it looked like a fumble, but it was ruled incomplete.
That's a break for the Cardinals. They don't lose a possession down here. They get an opportunity.
You see what they've done on 3rd down. 3rd and goal. Okay, what do you call? Three-man rush. Incomplete to Smith. Smith is howling in the end zone that he'd been interfered with. That was 3rd down. Bruce Smith and Jerry Boyarsky were after Lomax. There's a lot of groaning going on down there, isn't it?
Well, the coaches are trying to decide. Do you go for it on 4th down now? Do you kick the field goal? What do? You pretty much committed yourself. It looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down.
I wonder what happened to J.T. Smith that caused him to complain so much.
He probably did get bumped around while he was being covered. The problem is when a quarterback breaks out of the pocket, all that downfield touching stuff doesn't count. See, Lomax makes the throw. He probably got hit prior to that. And what happens is as long as the quarterback is out of the pocket, he can get hit.
Timeout Buffalo. Yeah, that's the thing about it. When Lomax started to run, they make contact with Smith. Timeout Buffalo, 7:03 left in the game. 7:03 left. The game comes down to this. The ball is at the Buffalo 17. And it's 4th and goal from there for the Cardinals to trail. 17-3. And there's Stump Mitchell, who's out of the game, hasn't played in the second half. Cardinals have to get into the end zone. They pass by the field goal opportunity. Four-man rush. End zone. Marsh can't get it. Incomplete over the head of Doug Marsh with Hill and Freeman covered. Ball goes over to Buffalo. With 6:58 left. You know, if the Cardinals had made the field goals earlier, they could have tried another field goal here. Next Saturday, Oklahoma and Miami, ranked number 1 and 2, at 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Who's that linebacker down there at Oklahoma?
Some big guy.
Mr.
Brian
Boswell.
Boswell.
Will he be after Testaverde?
I probably would think so. You know, Miami was, I think, the only team to beat Oklahoma last year.
Ball goes over at the 17 to Buffalo, and they have Byram in their backfield. And the Cardinals figure that Kelly's not going to put the ball in the air, really cover the run. Now the clock will start to kill St. Louis, and the Cardinals will be 0-3 probably heading into the Monday night game against Dallas.
Well, you don't know. I think it's a little presumable. There's 6:39 left to go in this football game. If their defense can get the ball back, make something happen for them, then they've got a chance still.
New England leading Seattle. Marino, by the way, has thrown 5 touchdown passes today for Miami. We'll hear more about that right where you are. When this game is over, here's a bootleg and nothing doing. Jim Kelly running and Al Baker nailing him on the bootleg.
Bubba does a good job of staying home, doesn't chase the back, stays in his position. You know, the game of defense is just like offense. You have to take a piece of real estate and hold on to it. He stayed home, wasn't fooled by the fake, made the play on Kelly.
Now Dallas leads by a point over Atlanta in the third quarter. And Tampa Bay may win their first game. They're 11 ahead of Detroit in the fourth quarter. This is 3rd down and 13. Will they throw it here?
I think he will throw it. You know, we saw him throw on short yardage when it was 3rd down. Why not now?
I don't think so. And the delay is covered. Byron carried. And they'll leave it up to the punting team and the defense and the clock.
That's true. You're absolutely right, Jack. I had a feeling they'd put the ball in the air, try and get it up the field a little bit more.
It was up to him. He'd have thrown it.
No, that's what I'd say. Quarterbacks think like quarterbacks. What can I tell you? I mean, you know, we put it up in the air. You know that was called from the sidelines.
John Kidd is punting, and the Cardinals probably will be going after him. This is the 4th punt of the day. He's averaged 51 yards a kick. They don't have enough men on the field. They still have ample time on the 30-second clock. Sikahema is inside his 40. John Kidd punting. They didn't get to him. No flags. Sikahema there. He has hit immediately. Good coverage by Buffalo. Bellinger got downfield and made the tackle. 41-yard punt. It was well covered by Bellinger, and the Cardinals have a long way to go. They're back at their 39-yard line, trailing 17-3. Less than 5 minutes for the Cardinals to do something about the 14-point deficit. They're back at their 39. What do they have to do, Joe?
Well, obviously what they're going to have to do is put the ball down the field. They have not thrown a lot of passes until the last drive to their wide receivers. Right now, J.T. Smith and Scott Holman are going to have to become primary targets for that ball to get down the field in the shortest period of time.
Extra defensive back in there for the Buffalo Bills. 4-man rush. And he threw behind the receiver, O.J. He's not the most nimble of people.
It's just not a thing that O.J. Anderson does very well. This is where having Stump Mitchell out of the football game really hurts you. O.J. Anderson has been a great running back, for the Cardinals. He just has not caught that many passes in that type of a passing situation. You see he's going out of the game now. Mitchell's the guy you really need in there. Farrell and Mitchell do catch the ball well if you're going to have to go to your backs. I still think you got to get the ball down the field to the wide receivers. You're going to need 10, 12, 15-yard chunks. You don't have time on your side.
Sikahema checks in. He's in the backfield. They left Farrell uncovered. He's trying for the first down. He broke a couple of tackles short of a first down. Well, let's see where they mark it. That was the second down play. First hit by Darryl Talley, the linebacker. Timeout called by the official. Stops the clock. 4:30 left. Farrell's had a good day, hasn't he?
He sure has. I mean, he runs the ball well. He's caught the ball for him.
We're going to have third down here. Ian Stallings, after this game, has to get ready for a Monday night game against Dallas 1 week from tomorrow, and then a game against
the Giants.
The Giants in St. Louis. Farrell has carried 10 times 58 yards, caught 5 passes, and run very well with the ball. I mean, a lot of verve.
He had verve.
Verve.
That's like very good. Verve up the field. Northwest runner, or northwest, north-south runner.
They're going to measure to see how far the Cardinals have to go.
That much?
Now 1 hook to go. Second and a hook. Well, they really lost their chance a while ago when they had first and goal at the 8 in that running play.
That's right, when Otis Anderson fumbled that pitch. If they got in there, they're right back in the football game.
You liked the way that play was shaping up, didn't you?
They blitzed the inside safeties, and I think they had the corner. The play was designed perfectly. It was run in the right area. The execution wasn't there.
How do you get the first down here, or do you gamble for 6?
Get the first down.
Farrell gets the first down, breaks outside. Oh, that was a saving tackle by Steve Freeman. Otherwise, Farrell could have sprinted into the end zone. The Cardinals go into their hurry-up offense. First down at the Buffalo 39. That's caught inside the 25 by Holman, his second of the day. The Cardinals continue with a hurry-up offense. The clock continues to run with 3:35 left. On the 24. And he overthrew Sikahema. Put it well out in front of him.
Well,
he wants Sikahema going upfield at that time?
He did, and the thing about it is Sikahema probably hasn't practiced a lot in that position with swing passes. They've had Mitchell back there, Farrell back there, and believe me, that is one of the toughest throws to make as a quarterback. When that back swings out of the backfield, you want to give him a chance to run upfield with it. You don't want to put the ball behind him, and if he isn't moving quite as fast as he has to be, you just don't get the completion. I like what St. Louis is doing as an offensive unit. 3 minutes, 31 seconds to go in the game. They're down, knocking on the door. They're saving their timeouts. They know what they have to do.
It is 2nd and 10 from the 23. Extra defensive back in there for Buffalo. And he missed Smith along the sideline. I guess he expected JT to come back for that ball a little bit.
I think that's what happened. JT probably got, it looked like his feet slipped a little bit coming out. He didn't get an opportunity to drive back down for the ball.
Farrell has rushed 11 times, 71 yards. That's the most ever for him as a Cardinal. Fourth quarter, New England by 10 over Seattle. Denver in great shape, 33-7. Third quarter over Philadelphia. Sikahema is back in there, 3rd and 10. Incomplete to Sikahema. That would have been a first down, but now it's 4th down.
My.
A little bit behind him.
Yeah, but there's no so what? That's all I can say to that. When you hit a guy in the chest, Vaya just didn't quite get his body around to make the catch. Lomax put the ball exactly where it had to be. and you wind up with another incompletion. Somebody's got to make a big play for the Cardinals. Somewhere, one of those people catching the ball has got to hang on to even a tougher catch than that. They've got to make a play.
Lomax 22 out of 37, and at least 3 or 4 dropped.
Oh, yeah.
This is 4th down. Incomplete. No flag. And now a flag is thrown elsewhere. The pass intended for Smith, but the flag is thrown in the holding area.
Smith, the
It's
injured
holding
Buffalo player.
against St. Louis.
Holding. 67 offense is declined. 1st down.
The ball goes over to Buffalo with 3:16 remaining in the game. The down player is Bruce Smith, the ace defensive end of Buffalo. Well, the Cardinals just can't get across that goal line. We have 3:16 remaining. Timeouts. Cardinals have 3. The Bills have 2. There's Gene Stallings, and he'll have another hard work week. He was really pleased with what transpired last week. There's Bruce Smith, came off the field, got a knee in the back. Looks like he's hurting a little bit.
He's felt like his team has been in both games right down to the wire. This one, they're not even as close as they've been, but they've played hard.
Cardinals have had the ball 35 minutes. Buffalo 20 minutes. That's another. There goes a late flag. That may be. That'll either be holding or a face mask. Running with it with Greg Bell. He has a touchdown. Ricky Moore has a touchdown, and Norwood has a field goal. It's holding against Buffalo.
You know, this is a situation the Buffalo Bills have not really felt themselves in a long, long time. That's with this kind of a lead this late in the game.
You know, they have a game coming up here against Kansas City.
Holding.
Even though
35 offense is declined. 2nd down.
they declined the holding call against Byron, even though Buffalo apparently has won this game, I don't think they'll feel really good about Kansas City coming in here.
No,
their defense is going to have to be better.
Yes, they are. Kansas City's got a very explosive offense. They'll move the football down the field with Todd Blackledge. They're starting to do the things that are right. To get a win is the biggest shot in the arm for them. That's an important thing.
They use the 2 tight ends. They try to hang on to the ball. Clock running. Cardinals going to have to stop the clock. The ball came loose, and Buffalo got it back. Apparently. Well, maybe not.
This is where the official lets them wrestle underneath. Let's see who has it.
It belongs
Yep, it
to
is
Buffalo. With 2:37 left. That would have given the Cardinals a glimmer of hope. Noga got involved in that one.
Well, Coach Stallings just got to wonder what his football team has to do. I can tell you what they have to do. They have to stop making mental mistakes, and they've got to make big plays when they get the opportunities. Those 2 areas have killed them.
Rams undefeated, leading in the 4th quarter. Miami by 7. Dallas by 1 in the 4th quarter over Atlanta. Kelly calling the play on 3rd and long. Clock down to 2:10. Byram running. I don't know what these fans want. They don't want to throw the ball, do they?
I think they do. They want to be entertained. A lot of them have stayed.
2-minute warning. 4th quarter. 2 minutes left. And 4th down, and the Bills will punt it to the Cardinals. Two minutes left. John Kidd will punt it away on 4th down for Buffalo. Cardinals have 20 first downs. Buffalo has 10. The Cardinals 296 total yards. Buffalo 181. But the Bills lead 17-3. And there's Sikahema back to get the punt. Well, miracles have happened.
Yes, they have.
Cardinals
2 minutes
still
to go.
have 3 timeouts remaining. He hung it high. Sikahema calls for a fair catch back at the 27. 49-yard punt. 1:52 remaining. Cardinals are at their own 27. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. And then George Washington, Part 2, The Forging of a Nation. And a feature, Walter Cronkite at Large. Amelia Marcos will be featured on 60 Minutes. She'll be interviewed and talk about all those shoes.
3,000 and some odd pair, I guess.
She's got almost as many as Hank Strand. Coming up next, the Giants at the Raiders. Here on CBS, first down pass, screened out here to Sikahema. And that's his biggest gain from scrimmage on the screen pass. But Buffalo, of course, playing it very loosely.
Well, he should try and get out of bounds, conserve the timeouts. You don't want to get tackled. You know, you're 2 or 3 yards from the sideline. Give up a yard, but get out of bounds. The clock is more important to you than 1 or 2 yards on a run that far downfield.
27 yards on the play.
Sikahema didn't get out of bounds.
You've got to get out of bounds.
And now they're going to call a timeout. The Cardinals have 3 left. They call one here, and Sikahema killed him that time.
That's unfortunate. I mean, you've got to be in the game. That's the mental aspects of the football game that you talk about. You know, everybody has got to understand that part of the football game. When you're moving the ball down the field, you want to be able to conserve your timeouts, and you just have to get out of bounds.
Both times. 1:14 remaining, and the Buffalo Bills about to win their first game under their new quarterback, Jim Kelly. And we asked him yesterday how many he thinks his team is going to win in 1986.
We have a potential of getting in double figures in win column. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of everybody sticking the team, and the biggest thing, you know, every team faces injury. If we can stay healthy, if Jim Kelly can stay healthy, if my receivers can stay healthy, I think we definitely have a shot at the playoffs. Like everybody else will say, you got to take one game at a time, but my goal is, there's no doubt about it, is to make the playoffs, and if your goal is not to make the playoffs, you shouldn't even be playing.
Kelly says, Joe Theismann, if I stay healthy, we're going to do it.
Well, he brings up a very important key, health. You know, he's 6 for 10 today, which doesn't seem like a lot, but his leadership out there means a lot to this football team.
He probably has never thrown the ball so little in a game.
That's right.
10 passes. Cardinals first down. Sideline, and it is caught. It is caught by J.T. Smith. Then he was whacked out of bounds by Burrows, number 29. And that stops the clock with 1:07 left. Cardinals trying to get their first TD of the day.
You know, there's little things in a situation like this in a game that impress me, and that you saw Neil Lomax indicating to his players, I want to huddle. He has taken charge. And we saw him in the opener against the Rams. They looked a little bit disconcerted. They weren't sure what they were going to do. Neil Lomax is beginning to take more and more charge of this offense and this football team.
On the 19 of the Bills, a first down. Look out, Neil. Screens it out here again. And it is a touchdown.
That's the time you stay inbounds.
That's the first ever for Sikahema in the pros. A 19-yard screen pass TD. Well, you got to admire the way the Cardinals keep their chin up here late in the game.
Listen, I think it's a reflection of the coach. I think it's a reflection of the type of players that Coach Stalling has on his football team. These guys aren't going to quit.
That's why Sikahema didn't run out of bounds before.
Oh, that one, I think he's going to have a talking to him about that one.
Makes it 17-9. Now all they'd have to do is miss this extra point, and they'd run the kicker out of town. It is good, 17-10. With 58 seconds remaining, and does anybody expect an onside kick? Let me see all the hands. Is there anybody who doesn't? Here's the touchdown.
Here's the touchdown. See Lomax looking downfield. Sikahema comes out of the backfield late. There's a little bit of a screen out to the right. Lomax does a good job of having the defensive men drawn to him. Now he cuts in. This is where you cut in. If you're going to stay inbounds, you get in the end zone. Bursts through the tackles. Talley can't get him, and dives in for the touchdown.
Well, in the absence of Stump Mitchell here in the second half, the Cardinals may have discovered some additional talent in the person of Sikahema.
I think they found some additional talent, but I believe that they do miss the presence of Stump Mitchell.
Okay, what happens? How do you try to get the ball back on a kick?
Well,
like
there's
this?
2 ways of doing it. You either kick the ball hard on the ground at a defender, hoping the ball will bounce off his chest, you get a chance to recover it, or you kick it low and look for one of those crazy hops and try and get as many guys down the field as you can. Obviously, they're going to kick it left.
The Cardinals have 11 men lined up in the left half of the field. And John Lee will kick it off.
Buffalo has got all their receiving types up there. They've got Freeman, Reed, Metzeler,
running backs,
receivers,
Moore.
Anybody that's got a pair of hands, get up there and try and catch it.
Where's the ball going to go? Hasn't gone 10. It went 10 and it's loose. And the Cardinals have the ball. The Cardinals have the ball beyond the 45-yard line with 55 seconds left.
You kick it at a Buffalo guy, hope that he can't handle the ball. It pops up in the air. All of a sudden, they're in the football game again.
It's amazing. Lionel Washington got the ball.
There's the kick. Now it's headed right towards. There you see Moore get hit. He gets hit just as he touches it. 1st and 10. 49-yard line. Lionel Washington making the recovery.
55 seconds left in the game, and the Cardinals still have 2 timeouts.
This has got to be exciting for Neil Lomax. He feels like now he has this thing back in his hands. He's in charge of this football game now.
Yes, Smith left and Holman right. Sikahema and Farrell in the lineup. Hoping for overtime. To the sideline and caught out of bounds. J.T. Smith inside the 40. 1st down.
What do you think's going through Hank Bullock's mind? Oh, no, not another one. They've played so well through 3.5 quarters in their first 2 ball games. All of a sudden, it looks like deja vu coming back up again. Can they hold the lead? Can they stop the Cardinals from getting on the board and sending this thing into overtime?
Well, they got plenty of time. 49 seconds to go 39 yards.
2 timeouts. Plus, they got 2 timeouts, and they wouldn't have had to use the 3rd one had Sekahema gotten out of bounds. But he scored a touchdown, so you can't say anything about it.
1st down. They might have to gamble on one of these downs and go after Lomax. He threw it away.
Good job.
Did a good job of throwing it away as Sean McNanny came racing in after him. Buffalo's given up a lot of points in the 4th quarter. There's Hank Bullock, their head coach, pacing. Hanging on, 45 seconds left.
Everything looked so comfortable about a minute ago. That's what I love about the game of football. It's, who is it? Yogi said it ain't over till it's over. That's what this one's all about.
Cardinals hanging tough from the 39.
45 seconds to go in the game.
Oh, and it's dropped by Sikahema. He had it and was trying to rush to the sideline. That's what he's trying to do, and it's 3rd down. Cardinals have had the ball 11 times. 8 times they have crossed midfield. With it all, they have 10 points, and they trail by 7. It's 3rd down. What they really can't afford here is a penalty, a holding call, or anything of the sort.
No, they can't afford a penalty in this situation. What they really need is some kind of a completion. 10, 12, 15-yard completion to put them in range where they can use their timeouts.
They have 2 timeouts left.
Buffalo content to play zone.
And he overthrew Smith. It's 4th down. Smith got in between Freeman and Bayless. The ball zipped by him, and it's 4th down.
And if Smith had caught that, Freeman would have tattooed him one right in the chin, I think.
34 seconds left. 17-10 Buffalo. Gene Stallings directing play. Coming up when this one is over, the Giants traveling to the Raiders. And more good football coming your way on CBS. 4th down. They don't need any more than a 1st down.
That's exactly right.
Three-man rush. Dropped. Incomplete. That's where you really miss a guy like Stump Mitchell.
I think that makes the biggest difference in this football game. Nothing against Sekahema, but it's a situation he has not been in. He's a rookie.
These are Mitchell plays.
These are. They're designed to go to the backs. The one across the middle. This one here, it's going to help him as time goes on. But like any coach or any competitor would say, geez, I wish I could have it now. I'm sure he would like to have back a couple passes. Maybe not even the 2 he had on this drive, but the one on the previous drive when he would have gotten the 1st down and got out of bounds.
Well, Sikahema caught 36 passes last year in college.
That's just a tough thing for a young man. It's an educational process when you play in the National Football League as a rookie. There are lots of things you have to go through, and this is one of those tough situations.
Cardinals lost the last 2 at the end of last year. Now they've lost the first 3. They have a tough assignment 1 week from tomorrow. Cardinals call the timeout, but that'll be futile. 23 seconds left in the game.
They're going to use them, too. They're not going to give up. They're hoping for a fumbled snap from center. Kelly now will sit on the ball. As soon as he takes the snap, he's just going to go down. They're not going to try and hand off at all. Buffalo has got to feel good about their first victory. They've held off a drive at the end of a ball game. They have accomplished what they wanted to. The defense has stopped the Cardinals. I still have to feel very, the team's 0-3. The Cardinals have not won a football game, but they are not a bunch of guys that are going to lay down and roll over. That is a tough football team that's going to get better and better and better.
One thing I don't think you can do is to get after the coach, Stallings.
No, the coach can only get you ready. Once you come out in between these white lines and you start to play, it's your responsibility to make catches and make plays. The Cardinals need somebody to make a big play. I think Gene Stallings has done a great job with this football team. He doesn't have the personnel that everybody thought he would have offensively. They had an excellent game plan coming in, keeping the ball away from the Bills. They did what they had to. They just couldn't make any plays.
Penalties have hurt him, too.
Oh, they killed him in different situations.
Well, that one penalty early in the game when they called roughing the passer on 4th down, that was it, as it turns out.
That one set him back. You had the fumble by Anderson. You've had a couple holding penalties when they had to settle for a field goal.
Jim Tunney is keeping the players separated as St. Louis calls the final timeout.
That's just frustration. The Cardinals are a very, very frustrated football team. They did everything. They felt very confident about this football. They definitely felt like they were in a position to win, as did the Bills.
Joe, let me ask you, can you come into a game with only 2 wide receivers on your roster?
Yeah, you can. For one game. You can't make a living. I mean, they're going to have to find somebody else to play that position. Whether they move Cedric Mack back over off the defense back to offense, that's a decision the coaching staff's going to have to make. Here's Jim Kelly, gets his first NFL win.
Well, the Cardinals...
Now, let me tell you, as a quarterback in this situation, that's when it's fun to be in a huddle.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd like to be the quarterback here. Let me have it. That's it, folks, and the Buffalo crowd will celebrate. They win their first of the year, and more importantly, they win it under Jim Kelly. That's his first win in the NFL, and he's going to be reckoned with. Some people think he's going to be the dominant quarterback. He threw very little today. Some people will think he's going to be the final quarterback in the league. For Joe Theismann, Jack Buck, so long from Rich Stadium. Final score 17-10 Buffalo. Coming up next, the New York Giants take on the Raiders. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.